Donations can also be made with a QR code on the Triangle Area Trading Cards website, which is triangleatc.com.
Hey, daydreamer. Did we catch you thinking about your dreams? With Wells Fargo Premier, a team can help you plan for them. So let's imagine your biggest dream. Not the easy one, the one behind it. The one you work towards every day and every night. Can you see it? Then we can help you plan for it. Ready to start planning for your dreams? You can at wellsfargo.com/getpremier.
At Diamonds Direct, we believe luxury is an experience and not a price tag. Luxury is expert guidance. It's the selection of 10 jewelry stores under one roof. It's saving time on endless comparison shopping, and you'll only find this experience at Diamonds Direct. Our luxury showroom has it all backed by our lifetime warranties and our signature best price guarantee. Diamonds Direct is the perfect combination of luxury and value, so you don't ever have to compromise. Learn more at diamondsdirect.com. Diamonds Direct, your love, our passion.
It's been said that when someone you love has Parkinson's, you have Parkinson's.
The Parkinson's Foundation knows that the disease doesn't just affect the diagnosed. It affects everyone who supports and helps care for them.
If you have questions, the Parkinson's Foundation has answers.
We can help you understand the disease
and give you tips for living a better life.
Find your answers at parkinson.org or call 1-800-473-4636. The Parkinson's Foundation. Better lives together.
Get in the zone, AutoZone.
Welcome to the A to Z savings event at AutoZone.
Yeah, happy to be here. Can I get some rotors?
Would you like brake pads with that?
How much are the brake pads?
Free with the rotors.
Free. Really?
Really, free.
Okay, I also need some oil.
Would you like an oil filter with that?
Yeah, how much is that?
Free with 5 quarts of oil.
Free? Really?
Really, free. It's part of the A to Z savings event.
You might as well call it A to free.
At AutoZone.
Get in the zone, AutoZone.
Restrictions apply.
Every year across America, a staggering 4.2 million youth are homeless or trafficked. Covenant House is the national leader providing safe housing for youth, 50 years strong. Help us fight youth homelessness. Go to covenanthouse.org.
This hour of the Triangle Sports Leader is powered by Ritchie Law Firm, injury lawyers. Ritchie Law is on top of it. Go to ritchielaw.com.
That's ritchielaw.com. WCMC-FM HD1 Holly Springs.
Now they'll score out in front. Stahl with the deflection. The Canes come up with a loose puck, and the captain setting the tone early. It's 1-0 Carolina. Byram loses it up front. Oh, he scores! Cue the band again. And the Finns combine on this one. It's 2-0 Carolina. Rantanen shot. He scores! Mikko Rantanen feeling right at home here on Whalers night. The score! Hall from Roslovic. Oh, what a pass, Jack Roslovic. And Taylor Hall's first goal as a Carolina Hurricane. Cue the band. It's 4-1.
It's the Adam Gold Show. Hello. I'm Adam Gold. Yeah. It happened last night.
Yeah, it did.
That doesn't sound like a fight bell to me. That sounds like a trolley bell.
That's a boxing bell, yeah.
I know, it does sound like a trolley
we
bell.
We should be sipping on a beer while we're pedaling, I guess.
That is I believe we're in Mr. Rogers' neighborhood.
Yes. I am wearing a fuzzy sweater, so.
You are. Did you change your shoes when you got into the studio? Mr. Rogers used to come in, sit down, he'd take his jacket off, he'd put on his zip-up cardigan, and he would change from like dress shoes to like Sperry's.
It's a wonderful day in the neighborhood.
Oh man.
Oh, well, Tripp does call me Miss Rogers.
He does. He calls you. He calls you Mrs. Rogers. Yeah, it's my hero. I'm not even joking. Not even joking. Mr. Rogers, my hero.
Yes.
Another one of our heroes is going to join us in just a few minutes. Evan Cohen is going to stop by, so there will be. I don't even know.
Yeah. Just prepare yourself.
It's just going to be.
He'll
all over
wake
the
you
place.
up if you're not awake.
It's going to be all over the place.
I don't know how he has all this energy that he
Always.
does, but it's fantastic.
Because I do know how he has the energy.
Caffeine?
No, it's not about that. First of all, this is not rocket. We're not, splitting the atom here. It is I mean, it's just fun to be able to talk about whatever it is you want to talk about.
Yeah.
Right, every day.
Yep.
And, have fun with it. Sometimes there's serious topics, but for the most part, we're just talking about games. I know they mean a lot to people, but it's just fun.
Yeah.
And I think there's an adrenaline rush that I've always gotten when it comes to doing this. So I know how he's always up, right?
He just wakes up so early.
Yeah. I actually dig those hours.
Oh, do you?
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Woo.
I wish I could do this show at that time.
Do you?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm a night owl.
Yeah. No.
So.
Well, I am too, but let me again, I don't want to waste too much time here because Evan's actually going to join us like in less than 10 minutes. I always felt like because I've worked on morning shows before, that if your day is over by noon,
oh, yeah.
You always have the day off.
Yeah, you can do anything.
Always have the day off. For people who, play, my golf handicap was never better than when I hosted a morning show.
Yeah.
Ever. It was never better. I was like mid to low single digit handicap when I worked on a morning show.
Oh, yeah.
It was glorious. How
traffic? What's traffic?
Oh, you never traffic at 3:00 in the morning. Never doesn't happen. Anyway, with all of that said, that was interesting. We'll talk to Evan Cohen in just a few minutes. Let's gloss over last night.
I told Rod Brindamore I was going to bring the good winning juju
Did you?
yesterday.
I didn't know you were coming until you were at the game last night.
Hey, I'm here.
So, all right, cool, very nice. All right, so yay, Whalers, or was it the Four Nations face-off?
I know.
Because here's how it started.
And Kotkaniemi comes out swinging. Cousins lands a punch, but give the decision to the Canes centerman. Cousins wants to get back up, but they're going to give him the decision. And yes, Barry Kotkaniemi's got Lenovo Center buzzing early.
I give Kotkaniemi an abundance of credit with where this hockey club is at.
All right, first of all, let's hear from Kotkaniemi on what led to that decision.
Oh, I don't know. Just quick decision, I guess. I don't know. Just, I think we need a little energy there. I don't know. I rarely start the game, so I thought I might do something there. But, we got a little energy from that. Got a good start for the game, and, could get out win again.
All right, so
KK finally made impact on the ice.
He did. I actually think he played a good game apart from that. So good for him. It was unexpected, obviously. The methodology, the reasoning behind it is probably pretty good. And there have to be better ways to do that because you risk injury. Like Kotkaniemi could have gotten just clocked.
He could have.
And then what happens? And then there goes your energy. So, look, my sensibilities don't lead to thinking that is awesome, but I also don't have to be right about that. But it did provide the crowd with some energy, and when you have a team that has been not great and hasn't won a game on home ice in nearly 3 weeks, it had only been 2 games, but their last home win was the 8th of February. Your fans who have been going through it were just looking for a reason to get really excited, and the last 2 games didn't provide it. So it was obviously calculated by Kotkaniemi, and I did think it was odd that his line was starting the game. I'm like, that's interesting. Normally, because I didn't pay attention to who Buffalo started last night, so I really didn't think twice about it. Normally, I don't think twice about it, but anyway, it was interesting that Kotkaniemi started the game. So it's possible that maybe that coach went, see what happens.
No, why not?
Look, regardless of how it happened, the end result was the building was electric after that.
Yes.
And
the first 10 minutes was insane.
Yeah, like it took a little bit. Like the Hurricanes had a couple of chances early, didn't do anything. They had a power play early.
Yeah.
And didn't do anything on the first power play. Then on, as it's called, the bump-up shift, Martinook and Stahl combined to steal the puck, and then Martinook threw it in front, and Jordan Stahl let his skate do the work, and that's great. You know, Jordan doesn't need a stick to score a goal. He's sometimes better without it, and that made it 1-0. And then the next two shifts were very similar in pressure just generating turnovers, and then Bowen Byram panicked with the puck, lost it to Rantanen, who found Aho right in front for the goal. And then it's like boom, boom. It's 2-0.
So fancy.
Right? And here's Rantanen on that start.
Yeah, it was good, you know. Obviously good job by KK to start the game and bury the guy there, so it gave us a lot of energy, and the building was rocking after that for a while, and then just makes the game a lot easier when you score the first goal, and if you can get 3 of the first, you know, it's easier to play with the lead than always chase the games, which we've been doing lately, you know, so got to take a recipe out of that and try to repeat it.
And he said 3 because we haven't even gotten to the third goal, which was a what? A power play goal?
We did what?
That's right. Great pass from Svechnikov to Rantanen, and the importance of that.
Yeah, it's been tough, you know. We created some chances, you know. I think last game Fisher hit the post, you know, so it's been kind of close, but now this time it was posting in, which was good, you know. I think after you get one, you get a little confidence, hopefully, and get more chemistry and more confidence.
The second power play it moved the puck better. I mean, they've got to move the puck quicker, and they did. So it's 3-0 less than 10 minutes in. Like, to be perfectly honest, and I want to hear from Rod Brindamore here before we get to Evan Cohen. The rest of the game was more good defensively than anything else. Carolina had plenty of scoring chances, but the rest of it, I mean, they weren't clean with the puck. The passing was poor, but they had a 3-0 lead. Gave up a goal at the end of the first period, which was kind of annoying more than anything else, a nuisance more than said anything about the game, because Carolina dominated the game. They just didn't do enough with their opportunities to score to really make that crazy. Here's Rod Brindamore on, did they return to who they are?
Tonight we were, like I say, especially early, and that was the key. I mean, you look at a couple of goals we got, it was direct, relation to that, where you're just on top of them and they turn it over a couple times, and then you got to make them pay at that point, and that's kind of what happened. But I mean, everyone's trying to play the same game, and you just got to get to it.
So, we'd been talking about this, and I talked about it last night on the Canes Corner podcast, available wherever you get your podcast, live on YouTube, youtube.com/Canes Corner. I was excited about how. As much as the why or the what, I was excited about the how. Because that's how it needs to look. That's how this team needs to play. So the first goal and the second goal were wholly created by pressure. It wasn't, transition end-to-end hockey, fancy passing around the zone. It was leaning on them. It was forcing them into mistakes. And that's how the Hurricanes brand. That's Hurricanes hockey. And it'd been a minute since they got to that. Now, it is Buffalo. They are the worst team in the Eastern Conference, so we're not going to spend too much time patting ourselves in the back about it. But the way they went about their business, and again, defensively they were great, and Buffalo is outstanding offensively. Speaking of outstanding offensively, I have no idea if that's true or not. Evan Cohen, our friend from Unsportsmanlike on ESPN Radio. I could think of no better way to start a Friday than just to have a conversation with Evan Cohen. You had a nerd off today. Kevin Clark, right, sat in.
Yep.
I'm all about the nerd off, but I didn't stay long enough to find out what the nerd off entailed. What did you bring to the table in your nerd off?
All right. Well, Adam, thank you as always for having me. And here's the thing. So let's talk about this for a second. So on your show specifically, you and I have talked about your old days a long time ago in the state of New York. We've talked about random old school North Carolina basketball players and how I feel like I could still maybe beat you at naming random with basketball. We've talked about Victoria and I share the love for the boy bands of the late 90s, early 2000s, and NSYNC and Backstreet Boys. And today it is time now on the Adam Gold Show to reveal how much of a sports nerd I am. Because the two things that really caught everybody's attention today were that I will randomly, out of nowhere, just decide to Google coaching staffs of all teams historically.
Really?
Like, for example, I will literally be like, wait, were Dean Smith, Bill Guthridge, and Roy Williams all on the same staff?
Yeah.
But was, like, I know that, but, like, wait, was Eddie Fogler on that staff too?
Yep.
And then I'll just start looking at that. That's number one. And number two was, and it still is, that I write down every draft pick in the NFL draft, all 7 rounds, every year, handwritten.
Why?
All right, Adam, the floor
Why?
is yours. Go ahead.
Wait. Why do you do that? Why do you write it down?
You can't find them on the internet or anything like that. I don't know. I did it as a kid. I went to the draft every year at the theater at Madison Square Garden. Not Madison Square Garden, the theater at Madison Square Garden. So people understand this. Madison Square Garden, that's how you know this, but for the audience in North Carolina, Madison Square Garden has a theater attached to it that holds, like, let's call it 1,000 to 3,000 people, and that's where they used to hold the NFL draft. And now they have the combine in a football stadium, and the draft will be at Lambeau this year, and it is going to be enormous. Yeah. But back in the day, it was not this big. So I would go every year, and I'd write down all the picks, pre-cell phone, pre-internet, so I would know who was drafted, and I could keep track of it, and that is what I've done ever since.
And you made the trip from New England down from Boston area to, right?
No, Westchester County.
Oh, okay. So how did you become how'd you become a Patriots fan living in suburbia of New York?
All right. Well, maybe this is sports nerd number 3. So I don't love the players as much as I love the management, the leadership, and the structure of organizations. I love the Patriots because of Belichick.
I appreciate that.
I love the Heat. Yeah. I love the Heat because of Riley and Spoelstra, and I obviously fell in love with Wade and Haslam and Butler and Shaq, etc. I love Tomlin. I was never a Roethlisberger guy. I'm not a Steelers fan, but I love Tomlin. Like, I love. That's what I love. So I fell in love with the Patriots and the way they operated. And I used to, growing up, I'm a front runner. I'm a loser. I used to root for the Giants growing up here in New York, where I grew up in Westchester County, New York, because I loved Parcells. I always took a liking, and you know what it stems from? And I'm not kidding you, and it's odd that you asked this. I swear to God, it stems from Norman Dale, Gene Hackman's character, the late Gene Hackman in Ed Hoosiers. That's because I loved Norman Dale, and I always appreciated the leadership because of that.
Evan Cohen, Unsportsmanlike on ESPN Radio at EVCO Radio. I'll give you because I could have competed with your nerd out, as you probably expected. Growing up in the New York area, right?
I would hope so.
We were big. The games were, a lot of people played Stratomatic. I didn't play Stratomatic as a kid. We played something called Status Pro, which, by the way, the Avalon Hill Company in Baltimore, I believe, still exists. And I always thought those games were better than Stratomatic. Either way, so we played Status Pro baseball and Status Pro football and Status Pro basketball, and we kept detailed stats, and I actually still have them in my garage from the 1986 season. We used the cards from the 86 season. The entire season, we played it out.
Wait a minute. Adam, hold on a second. I have to understand that.
Yeah.
You have stats, not from the 86 baseball season, that's over the Red Sox.
No.
You have stats from you and your friends playing a video game?
No, not video game. A board game. A board game. It was not. I'm not a gamer. I don't do video games. We played board games. Stratomatic was about dice. Yeah.
Okay. I don't want to take over the show, but this to me, I'm a loser. Okay. I'm a sports nerd. I get it. Every interaction I've had with Victoria has been positive, and Victoria seems unbelievably likable to the masses. Way cooler than you and I would be. Victoria, if you were able to speak, not to just take over the show, but how many years have you and Adam worked together?
Is this three? I mean,
yeah.
off and on longer, but 3 solid.
Is this the low point of your opinion of him?
Oh, no, Adam. This is...
No, it's been lower, Evan. I'm sure there's been lower.
You have stats from you versus your friends in a board game?
Well,
30 years later, 40 years later?
Only part of it is me versus my friends because I was already also in college and I moved out and I just finished the season on my own. So let's just move on. Let's move on. I played the last 70 games out of the season on my own. So,
let me ask one other question on this to you, Adam.
Sure.
If you said to those friends that you played with, hey, by the way, you guys know I still have the stats.
Yeah.
Is that one of those moments that they would be like, holy bleep, we're coming over right now. That's the greatest thing ever?
Yes.
Or are your friends saying to you, you're the biggest loser of all time?
No, they would be like, that's cool. Who led the league in hitting? They would be asking me questions. Yeah.
You got good friends then.
Yeah, well, no, we were all the same. That's why it made me feel some type of way when you went into the nerd off. Let me ask you an actual question about sports, Evan Cohen, because I do feel like we're living in a pretty wild time with regards to the NBA. Steph Curry does that last night. 56 points, and he doesn't replicate that as often as he used to, which is understandable because he's 36. LeBron James just had another 40-point game. And he is probably a top 10, 12 player in the league still at age 40. How do you process how great these players still are and how they still are the faces of this league 20 years after their arrival in the case of James?
Okay, I love that you asked this question. This was a topic that we discussed this morning, and it's been a topic for us all week. And CC, Chris Canty, who was not there this morning, but it fought me on this a little bit. So I don't understand why we as sports fans, and in this case basketball, we are on this search for what's next, and we're not just looking at what's in front of us, which also simultaneously could be next. Like, what did you see from Steph last night with his 56 and 12 three-pointers, as the Warriors have been excellent recently since they got Jimmy Butler?
Jeez.
What would you think would potentially make you believe that he's slowing down?
I mean, only because he can't do it. He can't do it night in and night out like he used to. But those games are still there.
Are they going to be in the playoffs? But they're going to be in the playoffs.
Yeah.
LeBron had 30-some-odd points last night. They just get Luka, which I'm still stunned about.
Yeah.
And I think that extended his career a little bit. So instead of worrying about is Anthony Edwards the next face of the league with Minnesota, is Wemby, who should be a face in the league, the next face of the league, and unfortunately he's got the blood clot with the Spurs. Why don't we just do, and Kevin Clark this morning brought this up, and I think it's a good point, why don't we just do what we have done in the NFL, which is just simply embrace the actual faces of the league until they're not there anymore, instead of searching for the next ones who, by this rate, the people you think are going to be the faces now are not going to be when LeBron and Steph are done, because LeBron and Steph are not done anytime soon.
The next face of the NBA after LeBron and Steph are gone might still be in like grammar school at this point, based on.
You know what, Adam? Adam, I'm going to go one step further because you just triggered another thought. You are in the great state of North Carolina,
yes,
which is arguably the best college basketball state in the country.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sure everyone listening is saying, well, it's not arguable. It is. Great. Awesome. And I am a UNC football fan, as you guys know now, with
yes,
Coach
you are
up there. So let's talk about the state of North Carolina college basketball. In the face of the league, what's next? I would say between the two of them, there were probably 20 years where people asked the question, who's going to replace Dean Smith? Who's going to replace Coach K? And both those guys probably coached a decade after the first question of who's going to replace them was asked. And I understand it's different from coach to player, but you know what? Instead of worrying about who's replacing Coach K or who's replacing Dean Smith, just root them on as they continue to win. I mean, Coach K won that title, the 5th title, with Brian Zubak at center and all those guys. Like, he won that probably a decade after people were trying to hire Tommy Amaker to be his replacement. And I don't even know that John Shire was out of college at that point who actually replaced him. My years could be wrong, but you get what I'm saying on this, right? It's just, we got to stop. Embrace Steph Curry and LeBron James while they're still here.
Here's the thing.
I'm playing basketball.
Here's the thing. Shire won the 4th K title in 2010. Shire was the point guard. The 5th one was all those freshmen and a guy like Quinn Cook. And at that point, people were like, I don't know that people were looking for the next, but Brad Stevens' name was already out there, and he was going to be the next coach for both schools. He was going to be the guy who actually coached North Carolina and Duke at the same time. Evan Cohen from Unsportsmanlike on ESPN Radio. Just a couple of more minutes here before we have to say goodbye. But I have an answer to your question as to why we do it. And I think part of it is the way we consume media today, right? We have to have something has to be the best. We have to rank everything. And that is, for better or worse, that's just the way, unfortunately, we frame things. But I've said this for a long time, that, a sport like the NBA, and I've been saying it for like a decade, could not have been luckier to have a guy like LeBron, who there's never been a whiff of scandal around, as its face, right? The best player in the sport for more than a decade, but for a decade was like either the airtightness around his personal life was otherworldly, or he is simply just a good human being and great at basketball and the work ethic and all of that. And so, guys like LeBron, like for some reason we just can't like let them be great and embrace it. We have to rank everything. So we get into the Jordan versus LeBron, or the Brady versus the Brady versus Montana thing. We just have to compare. That's just the way we're wired. It kind of stinks, but I don't know. Maybe it also highlights the greatness of these guys.
What you're saying makes sense, and I do want to double down on what you're saying about LeBron in terms of the off-court stuff. The man is a billionaire. The man is on the surface, a great. I don't know what's real and not real. I'm not claiming he's not real. I'm saying he's a great family man. He clearly cares about his children. I mean, I think that's obvious. He gets knocked for caring about his children too much, which I don't know if there's a such thing.
He got his kid a job.
Right, and I'm certainly not going to judge someone else's parenting. What I will say is this. Nothing you said was wrong, but I have to ask you a question.
Sure.
From when LeBron started in the league till now, he's been the face of the league for, let's call it, the last 20 years.
Yeah.
Do people like the masses? Do they like the NBA more or less than they did when he started?
Oh, I don't know. I think it's probably the same.
I think it's less.
I'm not sure they liked the league better when Jordan was the star. I think they liked Jordan.
Come on.
I think they liked Jordan.
Oh, well, that's okay. That's fair. I jumped in too soon. You're right about that. I mean, Michael is the greatest face of the sport in the history of sport.
Mm-hmm.
Well, no, I shouldn't say that. What Tiger's done for golf, what Serena and Venus have done for tennis is the greatest. But, and it's funny you bring this up, because I'll just tell you, behind the scenes, I've said to our producers, I said, I'm not ready yet for a topic, but I need to do some homework on it. And they're like, what are you talking about? And I said, I have a topic in mind that I want to ask a question, but I need to do more homework on whether or not the LeBron James era has been good or bad for basketball. Not whether LeBron has been good or bad, not whether he's a good or bad person, not whether he's a good or bad player, but has the LeBron James era of basketball been good or bad for the NBA?
I think it's probably been very good for the NBA. I don't know that the game is more popular. The only sport, and we have to go, but the only sport that is more popular today than it was 20 years ago is the National Football League. Every other sport, every measure.
You don't think college football is?
Well, college football, yeah. Football in general is more popular today than any other sport, and we can spend all day long figuring out why. But it's all the other sports have declining, in some ways, measurable declining popularity. But I don't think the NBA. I thought the NBA was more about Jordan then. Now it's about LeBron and other stars, and I think the game. I don't know. I think the game is more fun today, personally. For me, Evan Cohen at EvCo Radio. Love catching up. I never know what we're going to talk about, and I appreciate you doing that.
That's the best. Neither do I, and I love every minute of it, Adam. Thank you for having me on.
All right, man. We'll talk to you soon. That's Evan Cohen here on the Adam Gold Show. When we come back, Pat 40, we're going to get serious for a second. We have a gambling scandal in college basketball. Actually, it's touching pro basketball. We'll talk to Pat 40 about that next.
From the heels,
touchdown, Carolina,
to the canes.
She scores!
He covers it all. The Adam Gold Show on the North Carolina Sports Network.
Listen for the...
Oh, my goodness!
Check in for the...
Beautiful back cut and a two-hand jam.
Don't miss the...
Race to the other end. Get ready for the show!
What was that?
A reverse pull-up! My goodness! Hubbard got hit, and he made the shot!
You're home for the Final Four from San Antonio.
Cooper got it to rattle home!
99.9 The Fan, the Triangle Sports Leader.
When you take a walk around your neighborhood and notice all the things that make it feel like home, like all the houses lie neatly together in a row, or your neighbor, Miss Rita, who always waves at you when you drive down the street, or that movie theater in the strip mall that might look a little worn down, but has the best popcorn you've ever tasted. One thing might be a little harder to notice, because somewhere tucked in that neat row of houses is hunger. It could be your next door neighbor, or your coworker, or your daughter's friend from school, because over 30 million Americans don't know where their next meal is coming from. Hunger lives in neighborhoods all around us, but it doesn't have to. Together, we can provide 1 billion meals by 2030, because everyone should be welcome at the table. Learn more at nourishingneighbors.com. Let's break the cycle of hunger together.
Mitchell Heating and Cooling, we do the job right every time.
Mitchell Heating and Cooling is celebrating 51 years of trusted service. And to celebrate, get a furnace tune-up for just $51. That's peace of mind heating for only $51. Visit MitchellHVAC.com. Mitchell Heating and Cooling, quality products and services on time from a family you trust. It's hard to stop a train.
The best solutions every time.
If you're 55 and up, T-Mobile has plans built just for you. 2 lines of unlimited for just $30 a line. That's a 45% savings compared to Verizon and AT&T. But don't just take our word for it.
It's not just the savings that are great with our T-Mobile plan. There's all this value from all these other things that T-Mobile offers.
T-Mobile has been such a savings for us.
We love it.
Switch today and get 2 free 5G phones like the Motorola Edge with Turbo Power charging that gives you power for the day in just 15 minutes. And customers 55 and up can get 2 lines of talk, text, and data for only $30 a line. Go to T-Mobile.com/choice55 to learn more. With AutoPay plus taxes and fees, plus $5 per line without AutoPay. Debit or bank account required. 45% off 2 lines versus AT&T Starter and Verizon Welcome. Plan benefits vary. Motorola Edge on us with 24 monthly bill credits and new line for well-qualified customers, plus tax and $35 per line connection charge. See details at T-Mobile.com. Motorola Edge requires 68-watt charger. Charger sold separately. Actual performance will vary based on usage and configuration.
Some people just know they can save hundreds on car insurance by checking Allstate first at 888-ALLSTATE or allstate.com. Like you know to check your sunroof is closed first before driving through the car wash.
Whoa, 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 whoa. Oh, no. Wait, whoa.
Yeah, checking first is smart. So if you want to save money, check Allstate first at 888-ALLSTATE or allstate.com. You're in good hands with Allstate.
Savings vary. Terms apply. Allstate Fire and Casualty Insurance Company and affiliates, Northbrook, Illinois.
Whoa, it's you, the Capital One Bank guy.
That's what they call me.
Mind if I get a selfie?
Yeah, sure thing. Say no fees or minimums on your Capital One checking account.
Wow, that's a keeper. So, where are you heading?
I'm off to spread the good news that Capital One helps people keep more money in their wallet with no overdraft fees.
Oh, you're the best Capital One Bank guy.
Hey, mind if I get a selfie?
Sure.
Say, Capital One, what's in your wallet?
Terms apply. See CapitalOne.com/bank for details. Capital One NA, member FDIC.
Gold. Gold.
So I was reading an article about the 10 oddest Guinness World Records, and the thing that caught my eye was most skips by a cat in 1 minute. This woman has a jump rope and is skipping with her cat. Okay, I have got a cat, and let me just tell you, the skipping alone would cause this, but swinging a jump rope anywhere near my sweet kitty Carol, she'd be gone for like 5 days.
The Adam Gold Show.
It's the Adam Gold Show. I am Adam Gold. Victoria on the ones and twos. Had I known that Pat Forty had been called away to another story, I would have extended our conversation with Evan Cohen. Get him back on the phone. Just kidding. Although I would talk to him. But so we're going to set up Pat Forty for next week. Is an interesting, really interesting story on SI that he and I think it's Michael Greenberg wrote about this. I mean, years-long pervasive gambling scandal. And when you read the story, if you go to Pat Forty, which his Twitter handle is by Pat Forty. If you read it, it's long, so, give yourself some time. The thing that will jump out to you, because they did to me, is how are these people not already in jail? I mean, I just don't understand. Like, these people should have all been put away. But regardless. But yeah, college, pro. Remember the Jonte Porter story, the basketball player who was helping gamblers with, like, he would have a total for a game of like 4 points, and he would make sure that it stayed under. Right? So he's part of this. He's a very small part of it, tiny part of it, but he's really the tip of it. And maybe this is how everybody got into it. But anyway, it's a great piece, and it exposes a lot of the underbelly of this industry of gambling. And I know there are people who are going to read it and go, well, this is why we shouldn't have sports gambling. And my argument would be the opposite. Because, honestly, these things all happened years ago. They all happened. Gambling and point shaving and game fixing all happened. And we probably only knew about 5% of it. The more we get legalized sports wagering involved, the better we all are. I'm just saying. Anyway, it's an interesting story. So let's get to a couple of other things, because North Carolina plays tomorrow. We have, the ACC's this their second to last weekend of basketball. You've got Carolina against Miami, State's at Georgia Tech. I mean, we might as well still keep hope alive. It's not mathematical. Wolfpack has to win at Georgia Tech. Going to have to win 3 in a row just to make the ACC tournament. So, hey, this is where they were last year. Think about it that way. Keep winning. If you keep winning, you'll keep playing. That's how long the season will last, essentially, for the Wolfpack. As long as you win, you have a chance to play. End of discussion. Florida State is at Duke. Don't really anticipate anything crazy about that game. Look, I think we all know Florida State is athletic. They've got some length, but Duke should beat them pretty handily. By the way, on Monday, Wake Forest is at Duke. That's probably the last gasp for the Demon Deacons to make the NCAA tournament without winning in Charlotte. Notre Dame is at Wake Forest tomorrow. And then for the other two NCAA tournament teams right now, Clemson and Louisville. Clemson is at Virginia. Louisville is home to Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh is just in the bin right now. So I anticipate Clemson and Louisville will each win their games. and they're rising up the seed board. Clemson can end up as a top 4 seed when it's all said and done. They have really had an impressive season. And remember, they actually did some work in the non-conference as well. There's only a couple of teams in the ACC that did well in non-conference play. Duke and Clemson. Nobody else really did. But to the Tar Heels, because this is our hyper-focus, because I know we talked about it with Brett Friedlander yesterday. I don't believe that it would be a guarantee, but I do think there is a path for UNC to make the NCAA tournament without having beaten Duke once. And I know what their Q1 record is. And it's going to have to get better for them to do that, to get in without beating Duke. But there is a path for it to get better without beating Duke. And if you beat Miami tomorrow, if you win, Virginia Tech the middle of next week, even if you lose to Duke, and I anticipate that you will lose to Duke, go to the ACC tournament. You'll be playing on Wednesday. Win your game Wednesday against a team that isn't very good, but then win your game on Thursday in a quarterfinal game against either Clemson, tough matchup, or Louisville. Tough matchup, but winnable. And they're both winnable, to be honest. If you can win twice at the ACC tournament, even if you lose to Duke for a third time, I think there is a path forward. Doesn't mean that it's a guarantee. And I keep saying I think it's probably 60-40 you get in, which is a pretty good chance that you don't. But I think it's there. You just didn't do enough during the course of the regular season, and the bad losses matter. So, but I don't think it is out of the realm of possibility that the Tar Heels get an at-large bid to the tournament. And again, I do think it matters that they played in a ridiculously hard schedule. And in many of those games, they did have a chance to win late, just didn't. And I don't think that is completely held against you. I think all things are taken in context. And they still have to fill out the field. And I wouldn't be completely shocked if North Carolina ended up in the first 4, even going 0-3 against Duke. So with all of that said, they have played better of late. Again, the competition, not awesome. So what has Hubert Davis been happy with in terms of the way his team has played? And he talked about that yesterday.
Probably the thing that I'm most proud of is, them staying the course and staying connected. And, at times it's hard to do that, especially when things aren't going the way that you want them to go. To be able to stay connected and stay the course with so much noise from everywhere, it's really a testament to this group, this team, to be able to stay locked in and continue to competitively fight and continue to grow. And just, the improvement of over the last 2.5 weeks, you just can't help but see it.
So, again, this is a team. Remember what they did at Clemson. Remember how that looked. I remember talking to a lot of people, not necessarily on this show, but a lot of people who looked at that and saw a team that was fractured. Well, I have been very consistent in that I think frustration and fractured are very, very different things, but they can look the same. I have seen a team that has been frustrated. I also see a team that really is flawed. And we've talked about this all year. Their roster really isn't good enough. Not to play at the level they wanted to play. I don't know they started the season in the rankings, but the preseason rankings are stupid. They're always stupid. We have no idea. So for me, when you watch them play, you went, "Oh yeah, how are they gonna overcome that?" Like, unless Jalen Washington becomes really good, they have no chance. And this, I'm not, slamming Jalen Washington. He's kind of a reserve player. He's not a starter. Van Allen Lubin is a rotation player. He's not a starter. Not on a good team. Now, maybe they'll both improve. Maybe Washington will get better. I don't know. But he's not there yet. They've got some nice pieces, though, but it's a flawed roster. What I've said about North Carolina all year long is that if you took North Carolina off their uniforms and put them in like Eastern Michigan or Miami of Ohio, you would go, man, that's a dangerous MAC team. You don't want to play them. Because they clearly have guys who can hurt you offensively. Not a great defensive team. Anyway, one of the players who can definitely cause problems is Jalen Withers, who went through a tough patch and has come out on the other side and is playing really well. What's different?
I would say the biggest thing has just been, me going back to, how I got recruited to come here, how I got recruited to go into college in general. Like, I was a really good shooter coming out of high school, really good shooter coming, out of Louisville. So I think that me just, falling back on the work that's put in, the reps, the mental reps, the physical reps, that's kind of helped me out as far as, regaining my confidence and, I guess the stroke, if that makes any sense.
Yeah.
So, look, he is a very good player. He is a little bit redundant for UNC in that he's primarily a perimeter player. They really could use guys inside to be effective. So he's not necessarily that guy, but he's still a good player, and good players give you a chance. So I hope he has a great finish to this season. I hope North Carolina can win enough games and be impressive enough and get into the NCAA tournament, and then everybody can have a little bit more fun with March, because it's no fun. It's no fun.
It's not.
It would be 2 times in the last 3 years. And we know they bailed on the NIT a few years ago, which I felt was we're better than that. I don't know. Look, we could go around forever on that. But I don't anticipate if they miss the NCAA tournament, I would anticipate them doing exactly the same thing.
Yeah.
Saying we're not playing in it because, I don't know, because they're better than that. Notre Dame at times would not go to a bowl game if it wasn't a major bowl game.
Right.
Because, it's not worth our time.
Mm-hmm. It's a lot of sad people for March. It's like Christmas for some people.
It is. It is a tremendous, tremendous time. All right, let's take a break. We'll come back, and we will do one-timers. Questions and answers next.
Talking sports, dropping truth. The Adam Gold Show on the North Carolina Sports Network.
Electricity. It's what powers our lives, from the ordinary to the extraordinary. In North Carolina, 26 local electric cooperatives provide energy to 2.8 million people across the state. But we're providing so much more than affordable, reliable power. We're helping to strengthen the people and communities that make our state great, today and for generations to come. North Carolina's electric cooperatives. Power you can count on, now and always. Learn more at ncelectriccooperatives.com.
Going to college gives you more career options. You could say it pays for itself, but it might not feel that way in the short term, especially when tuitions do. That's where the FAFSA comes in. The FAFSA is the free application for federal student aid. It's your gateway to money for college. Whether you're seeking scholarships, grants, work-study programs, or loans, it all starts with the FAFSA. So how about it? Make a plan for college and find everything you need for the FAFSA at cfnc.org.
During the sports season, the Governor's Highway Safety Program would like to remind you to buckle your seatbelt when traveling to and from athletic events. Wearing a seatbelt is your best defense against injury or death in a crash. Prioritize your safety and buckle up. Every seat, every time. Remember, click it or ticket. It's the law. This message is brought to you by the North Carolina High School Athletic Association and the Governor's Highway Safety Program.
AARP is working hard to make sure people in North Carolina are getting the most out of life. Whether it's helping you stay healthy, save more money, care for loved ones, or simply have some fun, AARP is making a difference in communities across the state. You have a wise friend and fierce defender with AARP. Learn more about progress being made for older adults in the state by listening to AARP Without Limits. You can find the latest episodes of AARP Without Limits wherever you listen to your podcasts.
A crisis moment is any moment where you feel overwhelmed and as if you aren't able alone to handle what's happening. You don't have to be alone with that feeling. And when that feeling comes is exactly when you should reach out, you should get connected, and you should be in community. We care, we listen, we help. Call, text, or chat 988 anytime.
Call, text, or chat 988 24/7. Brought to you by the North Carolina Department of Health and Human Services.
Did you know that since you have public power, your electricity is operated and controlled by people in your community, not by a for-profit, investor-owned company? These local folks are directly accountable to you. They don't answer to shareholders. They make decisions for the good of your community. What's more, your public power provider invests in your community, providing jobs and supporting your local economy. Local people working together to meet local needs. That's public power. Learn more at electricities.com.
When it comes to health, we're all on our own journey. Our challenges aren't always visible to those around us. You may be living with aches and pains, fatigue, shortness of breath, or other symptoms that make it difficult to manage everyday life. These problems can be the result of a variety of conditions, including long COVID, which 1 in 5 adults who've had COVID-19 may develop, according to the CDC. When symptoms linger, they could lead to feelings of isolation, but you don't have to go through it alone. For challenges like these, physical therapy is the solution. Physical therapists are the licensed healthcare providers moving you to better health. They can improve your quality of life through hands-on care, patient education, and prescribed movement. No matter where you are on your health journey, your physical therapist and physical therapist assistant can help. When we work together, we feel better together. So choose more movement. Choose better health. Choose physical therapy. Visit ChoosePT.com to find a physical therapist near you or ask your primary care provider for a referral. This message is provided by the American Physical Therapy Association.
One Adam Gold. One Adam Gold.
So I was reading an article about the 10 oddest Guinness World Records, and the thing that caught my eye was most skips by a cat in 1 minute. This woman has a jump rope and is skipping with her cat. Okay, I have got a cat, and let me just tell you, the skipping alone would cause this, but swinging a jump rope anywhere near my sweet kitty Carol, she'd be gone for like 5 days.
The Adam Gold Show.
It's the Adam Gold Show. I'm Adam Gold. Victoria on the ones and twos. In some ways, I do feel bad for UNC. I mean, I realize the roster is what the roster is, and the season that they've had, you know, you can't. Some of the games they lost are just like, why? How did that happen? And they were lucky. Like, if you go back to the Notre Dame game, it was not very good. I mean, flat out lucky to win that. Notre Dame didn't want to win that. So, Boston College was way closer than it needed to be. So they kind of struggled through some things anyway. But man, if they don't play Alabama, Auburn, Michigan State, Florida, Duke twice, Clemson, another game potentially against Duke in the ACC tournament, maybe another one against Clemson, whatever. If they don't have a schedule like that, they're probably not in this position. So I just wonder if the committee will take that into account. That's all. All right, one-timers.
Okay, so there's really only one comment so far on the YouTube stream. If you have something, you can drop it there. I will see it. But Brian was referencing when you were talking about LeBron James earlier in the show, and he made a comment, so I wanted to see if you agreed with this. He said, LeBron has caused people to idolize individuals who idolize themselves versus individuals who idolize their team. Agree or disagree?
Disagree. I don't think there's been a more team-oriented player in the among great players. To me, LeBron and Magic Johnson are the two most team-oriented, iconic star players in their individual sports that we have ever seen. So to me, LeBron embodies team basketball. Embodies it. So, I disagree with unless I misread the premise. I don't know if I did or not. But if I read what his question was properly, then I completely disagree with it.
Okay, well, on to hockey. These are from me. So, do you think with the lines, because Rod did a little tweaking yesterday with the lines, do you think that he will keep that for the game tomorrow against the Oilers, or do you think there was one that he'll probably tweak?
I actually think there might be one he would tweak. But first, I don't think he really tweaked the lines as much as he just went back to one that definitely works, Stahl, Martinook, Jarvis, and put his, theoretically, because I think Jarvis is one of their top 3 players, put a top line together of Aho, Rantanen, and Svechnikov. So I don't know that I wouldn't call that a tweak. The one thing I think he might do, because I do think he played really well yesterday, was maybe elevate Kokoniemi to play with Blake and Hall. But I also thought that Kokoniemi, Robinson, and Roslovic were strangely effective, and they probably should be, because, 3 good players. So, but if I think he's going to do anything, I would make sure that Kokoniemi in this configuration would get a little bit more ice time with better players, with Hall and Blake. And I thought Blake was awesome.
Yes.
Last night.
He didn't get a goal, though.
No, he didn't get a goal.
I need it for my bed.
And I don't believe he got on the score sheet. I don't think he had a point. But I thought he was among the most noticeable players in a good way.
Yeah.
As a matter of fact, I brought this up during the aftermath and the podcast last night, and I think I tweeted about it. To me, the goal that made it 2-0, the Rantanen pass to Aho in front, that whole sequence started with Blake just being a pest.
Yeah.
He's just always around the puck. I want to be able to give him 20 pounds of muscle right now.
I
right
know.
Now.
Just give it to him.
I want to slap it on his legs because he is a really good player.
I love it. That was a pretty goal last night, too.
Yeah.
Friendly listener that we like to chat back and forth, Chef Wolf, or Chief Wolf, I should say, he wants to know, we were talking about this earlier, and I think these are sharp. What do you think about Navy Blue Whalers jerseys?
The Navy Blue Whalers jersey, which they didn't wear very long, is very sharp.
Yeah.
But I'll tell you, if they never wore anything but the white Whalers jersey, that is a
sticks out.
Good look.
Yeah.
That is such a good-looking uniform. Big fan. Big fan
Last
of
night
that.
was fun.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
I like Whalers Night.
They retroed out.
They did, always.
It's good.
Yeah.
Music.
By the way, I put this complaint on Twitter.
Yeah.
Whoever the DJ is at Lenovo Center, do not play Walk Like an Egyptian 6 seconds before they're dropping the puck. Because I need more than 6 seconds of Susanna Hoffs in my mind.
Well, we will send that to the parties. I don't know who does the DJ.
I need more than that.
I'll send the note to them and let them know. Also, so like I mentioned, next up is the Oilers, McDavid and company. So what do you think their main strategy with our guys versus their guys should be for that one?
Jacob Slavin on the ice a lot against Connor McDavid and Leon Draisaitl. I ask Rod Brindamore this every year. Would you rather face them together or separately? He goes, together. I know where they both are, and I have a better chance. Separately, you got 2 to dodge. But yes, this is the test, the defensive test tomorrow. Edmonton.
Making more sports sense than social media trolls. The Adam Gold Show on the North Carolina Sports Network.
Listen every afternoon for The Drive with Tim Donnelly.
Kevin Keats and state basketball have to do something, and I'll tell you what that is. They have to acknowledge what is happening. This season, it's a failure. That's not to say each individual player isn't working harder. There's no likable people in the program. It's just that after last season, this season, it's not enough. And they have to figure out how to fix it for next season.
The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 3 to 6 on 99.9 The Fan.
A new game has landed in North Carolina. Officials are calling this new species of game Cash Pop. So easy to play, it's out of this world. Reports confirm you just pick and match one number to win up to $2,500. With 5 drawings every day, cash landings have been cited across the state. So be on the lookout for Cash Pop from the North Carolina Education Lottery. The wins are out there. Must be 18 to play. See Cash Pop prize and odds chart at nclottery.com for details. Problem gambling helpline 877-718-5543.
When it comes to great deals on tax prep, Jackson Hewitt isn't holding back, and neither is this commercial. Their offer is so big, it has to be said with Reverb. Expert tax prep for $149 or less. It's a deal so spectacular, it needs a symphony, some explosions, and a clock ticking, because this offer, $149 or less. And soon, one expert tax prep for $149 or less. Try Jackson Hewitt today and save. Whew. Limited time offer for new clients on federal returns. Participating locations only. Terms at jacksonhewitt.com/149.
We all know the saying, you never get a second chance to make a first impression. In business, that first impression is everything. One bad review or even a wrong phone number on your site can send customers running. Stop the madness. Get a free snapshot report at www.snapshotmybusiness.com. We'll analyze your entire online presence, listings, reviews, social media, SEO, everything that shapes how customers see you. Our easy-to-read report pinpoints what needs fixing so you can attract more customers and grow faster. We've got the tools, experience, and proven results to help your business dominate online. Don't wait. Visit snapshotmybusiness.com today to get your free report. Your business deserves a great first impression. Snapshotmybusiness.com. Stop the madness. Get a free snapshot report at www.snapshotmybusiness.com. Your path to more business.
Joe Buck and John Smoltz welcoming you back to the City Center Convenience Mart.
Heather's moment has arrived, and you just hope all that training pays off.
Heather lays down her purchase, but Randy rings it up as slowly as he can.
Uh-oh.
Yep, she's looking at the cigarettes.
There's nothing good back there.
Heather's arm is in motion, but she just grabs the gum off the counter.
That's a slick move.
Even Randy tips his cap to Heather. Stand Up to Cancer and Raleigh wants you to reduce your risk for cancer.
Go to takeahealthystand.org.
If you are among the 6 million Americans living with Alzheimer's or care for someone with Alzheimer's or dementia, there is free help and support available 24/7. Visit alz.org or call 800-272-3900.
No two people learn the exact same way. So how did Babbel become the award-winning language learning app? We thought of you, all of you. Take Sierra. As a visual learner, she uses Babbel's wordplay videos.
Today I'll share a quick lesson on shopping in French.
Merci beaucoup. Keith is a be-in-the-room-with real people kind of learner, so he loves the live online classes with our language experts.
Okay, class. Vos está pronto.
Estamos prontos.
However you learn, Babbel makes it easy. Try Babbel for free at Babbel.com. Babbel.com.
This hour of the Triangle Sports Leader is powered by Ritchie Law Firm, injury lawyers. Ritchie Law is on top of it. Go to ritchielaw.com.
That's ritchielaw.com.
They score! WCMC HD1 Holly Springs. Take us with you on the radio, Instagram, TikTok, Alexa, and YouTube. 99.9 The Fan, the Triangle Sports Leader.
We didn't really belabor the Kevin Keats kind of hinting that NIL plays a role. Kind of does. But you can't say we're not making excuses, but then use that as an excuse. And he did. You know, it is what it is. But whenever you say, well, we're not using this as an excuse. No, we are. Whether it's justifiable or not could be a different discussion. But you are.
It's like the equivalent of saying no offense, but ...
Offense coming.
Yeah, get ready for it.
Look out. Here we come with some offense for you. It's the Adam Gold Show. I am Adam Gold. Victoria on the ones and twos. I was going to say welcome to your weekend. I guess we're sort of at the weekend. It's Friday, right?
It's a Friday.
There you go. First opportunity.
Yes. I'm trying to spread it out throughout the hours.
Open the
Last
door.
Friday, it was 2 p.m.
We opened the door for it. Couple of things before we get back to a little bit of basketball, a little bit of hockey from last night, and a word of caution. Okay, we'll do all of that. Mike Felder is going to join us this hour. We're going to talk about the Combine and some other things related to the Combine and maybe your favorite team. I don't know. We'll get his thoughts on a little bit about the Panthers. And also, he has been somewhat skeptical of the University of North Carolina's direction within the football program. But we'll talk about those things with Mike Felder coming up in about 20 minutes. Are you a Hard Knocks watcher, Victoria?
I have.
You have watched Hard Knocks in the past. So this show has been on, gosh, I don't even know how many years now.
Yeah.
So it goes back, it's like I thought the Rex Ryan Jets were like season 5 or season 6 or something like that. So we're talking about 20 years, right? Something like that. So we have off-season Hard Knocks. We have mid-season Hard Knocks. We have all sorts of hard knocking going on. But according to this story, it has become kind of an irritant to the National Football League. Same teams are, interesting year over year over year. Certain personalities are interesting year over year over year, and some teams don't want the intrusion. So they're going to college for Hard Knocks.
I'm shocked the NFL wouldn't like exposure. That's so unlike them.
Right. Well, they don't need this exposure,
They
right?
don't.
It doesn't hurt them, but it doesn't they don't necessarily need it at this point. The University of North Carolina will be featured. This is according to Front Office Sports. Ryan Glasspiegel, who is one of their media reporters, he said, breaking, Bill Belichick and UNC will be featured on off-season Hard Knocks. NFL Films could not find an NFL team to do it, and they're going to Bill Belichick and the University of North Carolina. So I've said this many times already, and it doesn't really matter if they are good. In fact, it might be better if they are horribly bad than if they are just okay. This will be the most scrutinized college football season ever. And I don't mean just in University of North Carolina football history. I am saying that there will be more attention paid to UNC football this year than has ever been paid to any football program at any time.
Ever, period.
Ever. End of discussion. The UNC TCU opens up the season. When it was originally scheduled, it wasn't supposed to be. I mean, it could have been nationally televised, but it was supposed to be a Saturday game. Nope. That game is now Monday night. It is now the Labor Day game. I think it's the Labor Day night game that ends the first full weekend of college football. UNC TCU. Really? TCU was okay last year. UNC was bad. Why would that? I wonder why. I wonder why. So whether or not this experiment, Bill Belichick, a professional slant on a college program, whether or not this is going to work, don't know. But it is going to draw eyeballs, attention. Back when we used to have actual newspapers where you could go plop down a quarter or $1 and pick up a newspaper and read through it and turn pages. We used to call them column inches. There will be more column inches written on UNC football than any other singular college football topic this year. So the attention, good or bad, is coming, and I cannot wait to see how this unfolds. So a behind-the-scenes look at how UNC and Bill Belichick run a college football program, how it might mirror an NFL program, all the things that he talked about training and preparation and nutrition, all of that. We're going to get a chance, at least as much as they're willing to show us, behind the scenes this has the potential to be an incredible game changer for UNC if they pull it off. Because there are two stories here. There is all the attention, and then there is how Belichick and a coaching staff turns this into a good football product. Bottom line. Can they do that? Can they win enough? Can they look like a legitimately good football team over the course of the first year? And I know there are people who are going to put expectations on, you got to make the playoff, blah, blah, blah. Like, the roster might not allow it. You can't make players better than they are. You can enhance what they do. And actually, if I was going to say that the number one skill of Bill Belichick as a coach is taking players who might have one defined strength among other weaknesses and making that strength matter the most and get the most out of that player. And if he can identify that within college guys and help them be better players, then North Carolina has a chance to get the most out of what might not be an amazing roster. But that's what's going to happen this year. We're going to get a chance to see behind the scenes on all of it, and that should be pretty fun.
Oh, yeah.
That should be fun. I might actually watch Hard Knocks.
Oh, have you watched an entire season? No.
No.
Mm-mm.
No, never.
Yeah.
I've watched very few episodes. How many years have we had those fake college football ranking shows during the course of the season?
No.
Right. So, and I tell every Tuesday before these shows air, I say the exact same thing. Fake rankings coming. Don't waste your time. Don't get mad. The rankings don't count.
Right.
People watch.
And they get mad.
People get mad. Mm-hmm. I'm like, I told you. Mm-hmm. Don't laugh at it. It is comedy.
Yeah. That wrinkle ain't worth it. That gray hair.
There you go.
It's not worth it.
Just get rid of the hair, as is the case here. All right. Quick second take on the news of the day. And we'll start with the Carolina Hurricanes last night. So the game started out with a bang.
Oh yeah, it did.
Right?
Oh yeah.
So
it did.
it completely caught me by surprise. Smash. So the opening face-off happens, and all of a sudden, we're like, what? Are you serious? Is this the Four Nations face-off? Jesperi Kotkaniemi, Dylan Cousins throwing hands. Apparently, Kotkaniemi said, do you want to go? And Cousins was like, sure, why not? They certainly acted like their hearts were in it, so good for them. Yeah. Again, it's a stupid thing, really, to do at the opening face-off, but the crowd got excited. It put energy in the building.
The team was amped.
Right. The team, and the team played exceptionally well, not just the first few minutes. They played exceptionally well all period. It was a dominant first period. With about 2.5 minutes to go, I was actually starting to type. It's almost sad that it's only 3-0.
Mm-hmm.
Because it was that, Buffalo had 5 shot attempts in the first 18 minutes of the period. 5 attempts.
One hand.
In the first 18 minutes of the period. Then Carolina took the too many men on the ice penalty, and ultimately it ended up a power play goal. Dmitry Orlov sort of turned the puck over, but it was more he swung and missed at a clearing attempt, which happened too much last night for my liking. Not just Orlov. He wasn't the only one. There were plenty of other players. As a matter of fact, right before Orlov swung and missed, there were a couple of other guys who did. But anyway, he didn't have his best game in the world last night, which we're kind of getting used to now. And ultimately, it was a power play goal. Alex Tuck scored it, made it 3-1. It was kind of a bummer that it was only a 2-goal lead for Carolina because they were so much better than the Sabres. It should have been a 4 or 5 goal lead.
Mm-hmm.
But it is what it is. Hurricanes were defensively awesome pretty much all night. And that's why it was ended up being a 5-2 game. They gave up a goal early in the third period, which was a combination of a bunch of mental and physical mistakes. And against good teams, you can't get away with that. You're ultimately going to pay for it. But ultimately, the way they played last night allowed them to, it didn't matter whether or not Pyotr Kochetkov was good or not. He didn't have to be anything. All he had to do was stand there because there were very few saves for him to make.
Yeah.
Like, I put together highlights for the podcast. So Rusty sends me all the highlights that we have, and I couldn't remember Kochetkov saves. I didn't use any.
No.
Like, it was an irrelevant part of the game last night.
At one point, he skated halfway out to the ice just to, get back in the other side.
Please, I am bored. Yeah. Like, they could have used the walrus from the commercial.
They could have.
Right?
Or Pucky could have went out there.
Pucky did. Pucky needs shoulders. Pucky has no shoulders.
He does.
So we need to get
more.
We need to get Pucky in, I don't know, weight room.
Yeah.
Something to that effect. All right. Mikko Rantanen scored. He also had an assist on Sebastian Aho's goal. Aho had a goal. Taylor Hall had his first goal for the Hurricanes, and Seth Jarvis scored into an empty net, and that was good. Rod, after the game, talked about two things, one of which was, we had talked about this after the game in Montreal. At some point, you got to be who you are, and the Hurricanes looked a lot like who they are.
Tonight we were, like I say, especially early. And that was the key. I mean, you look at a couple of goals we got, it was direct, relation to that, where you're just on top of them and they turn it over a couple times, and then you got to make them pay at that point. And that's kind of what happened. But I mean, everyone's trying to play the same game, and you just got to get to it.
All right. I guess most teams are trying to play the same game, but the Hurricanes got to theirs. And we've been saying this for a while. Their game is pressuring you into mistakes. And that's what they did to the Buffalo Sabres last night. Now, Rod was never a fighter. What did he think of Kotkaniemi dropping the gloves at the opening faceoff?
I mean, not even sure how that all came about, but I think it was good on him to do that. I mean, answer the bell or whatever, how that transpired. And then, like you said, it was a great period. It was bad bounce, and they get a goal. It's been kind of happening a little bit for us, but thankfully we were up. We wouldn't have to chase that game, so it's a great first period.
So it was good. Like, again, I thought Kotkaniemi played a good game without that. Maybe the way he started, unlocked him too. All of these things are speculative because we have no idea. There's no way to determine what equals what.
Rod was just as surprised as everyone else.
I'm gonna ask him about that tomorrow. I'm going to ask him about that. So I'm pretty sure this was the first time all year he started Kotkaniemi. Why?
Yeah, right.
Did you know?
I don't know.
Did somebody nod?
Birdie?
Did somebody nod to you? It's like, 82 is going to try something crazy? Mm-hmm. Anyway, I'm sure he didn't know, but I'm also sure that I think there are certain things about sports that people just kind of get. Either way, I'm not sure if it helped Kotkaniemi, if it helped the team. Risk comes with what you did, because you could
break your hand.
Yeah, you could. Actually, I don't know if people saw this, but during the game, he definitely cut his hand.
Yeah.
So I don't know if he cut it on, because I think he hit Cousins in the helmet first. Mm-hmm. Because he was getting some little work from Doug Bennett, the trainer.
Yep, you could tell he was trying to shake it out.
But I'm glad that he didn't get hurt, and I think he played a very good game otherwise. And I actually gave him my first star.
Oh, there you go.
I didn't Rantanen was not one of the three best players last night. I get, Mikko Rantanen, goal and assist. He's going to do the interview on the bench with Hannah, whatever. But I gave my 3 stars to who I thought were the 3 best players, and we also have a player of the game. So I threw Taylor Hall in there, but to me, Kotkaniemi, Jarvis, Blake, 3 best players in the game last night. Slavin is always a star.
I'm so excited for Blake. People who aren't excited for Blake, I just don't understand you.
I mean, here's the one, and I think it's fair that people get frustrated by this. For all of the creation that he is responsible for, and he creates a ton, whether it's possession, but scoring chances, all of that, there's not a lot of production. So, and a fair amount of that, I think, is due to he just needs to get stronger.
Mm-hmm.
So I get why people are skeptical is not the right word, but they want more.
Right.
For all of the good that he's done, there hasn't been a ton of, points on the board as a result. But I believe that's coming.
Yeah, I'm optimistic about him.
I hope it happens this year. That kid just makes good things happen.
Mm-hmm.
I love watching him play. All right. Just like I love talking to Mike Felder in the bleachers, it's Felder the Substack. He is a football maven. We will talk about the combine, the draft, get his thoughts on Bill Belichick and Hard Knocks next.
Questioning goalie interference calls since day one. The Adam Gold Show on the North Carolina Sports Network.
Listen for the Did He Just Do That?
Johnson trying to step back for a three. Bring it up. Left side. Boy, that was cold-blooded.
The deep looks from downtown.
Damas from the right block. Gives to Hawkins. Straight on. Triple. Good. They left him open, and he makes him pay.
The Get That Out of Here's.
Bonner to the basket. Rejected by Renew, who saw that one coming.
Your exclusive home for the Final Four. 99.9 The Fan. The Triangle Sports Leader.
Sometimes I just cannot believe all the storms we've gone through here.
I can only hope that we'll be able to leave this house to you one day, baby. You're our legacy.
Planning for these disasters will make sure we're safe, and is the best way to protect that legacy. You know what? We should make an emergency communication plan. That way we're ready this year. At my dorm, we have emergency kits for earthquakes and wildfires, but I'm sure there's something more local I can send you with a link.
Okay. Smart.
Protect your legacy. Visit ready.gov/plan for the tools and tips you need to start your emergency preparedness plan today. Brought to you by FEMA and the Ad Council.
Time is running out, folks. I need you to go to caniacsbike.com. Dennis Cox here for the Law Tigers. The Carolina Hurricanes, Law Tigers, Tobacco Road, Harley-Davidson, and Shiny Side Paint are all teaming up once again to give one lucky fan a custom Caniacs motorcycle. Simple to enter. Go to caniacsbike.com. Sign-ups last until April 6th. The bike will be given away on the final home game of the season. caniacsbike.com. Law Tigers is a network of independent law firms who are members of the American Association of Motorcycle Injury Lawyers. Law Tigers is not a law firm.
Welcome home. Your home is not just where you live, it's where life happens. At Baker Home Exteriors, we're proud to continue Baker Roofing's century-long legacy of excellence, understanding that your home should be as extraordinary as the life within it. Whether it's roofing, siding, gutters, or more, we transform houses into the homes you've always dreamed of. Visit BakerHomeExteriors.com and let's build something beautiful together. That's BakerHomeExteriors.com.
At Planet Fitness, we're declaring it. This is the year of getting stronger. And future stronger you can get started now by saving $28 or more when you join today. You in? We have all the best-in-class equipment you could ever need to keep stepping it up. And free fitness training to help you mix up your routine. Plus, most clubs are open 24 hours. So let's do this. Join Planet Fitness today and save $28 or more. Just $1 down, $15 a month, cancel anytime. Deal ends February 28th. See Home Club for details.
Progressive's Auto Quote Explorer lets you easily compare direct rates from different insurance companies, so you can be confident you're getting the right one, even if it's not with Progressive. Way more confident than you were when you bought that TV in the parking lot. It just happened to not come in a box, or include a remote. And when you finally managed to turn it on, all it displayed was the menu of Grumpy's Tacos. So use Progressive's Auto Quote Explorer and be confident you're getting insurance that's right for you. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and affiliates. Not available in all states or situations. Prices vary based on how you buy.
Whoa, it's you, the Capital One Bank guy.
That's what they call me.
Mind if I get a selfie?
Yeah, sure thing. Say no fees or minimums on your Capital One checking account.
Wow, that's a keeper. So, where are you heading?
I'm off to spread the good news that Capital One helps people keep more money in their wallet with no overdraft fees.
Oh, you're the best Capital One Bank guy.
Hey, mind if I get a selfie?
Sure.
Say, Capital One, what's in your wallet?
Terms apply. See CapitalOne.com/bank for details. Capital One NA, member FDIC.
Gold. Gold.
Some of the best trades ever made are the ones you don't make. Again, I'm sure that there are tons of stories like that.
Kind of like a relationship. Sometimes the best ones are the ones that you didn't go out with. Like that person that you tried to, and then you see him 10 years later and you're like, ooh, dodged a bullet.
So you sound like you've been there.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The Adam Gold Show.
It's the Adam Gold Show. Victoria, thank you very much for playing this.
You're welcome.
I was
You can
legitimately
listen
mad.
as long as you want to. Yes.
Yeah. Mm.
It's 3 minutes, 24 seconds. So.
It's Susanna Hoffs is just, she's amazing. And I'll just leave it at that. Shouts to Gary on Twitter, by the way, yesterday, because I tweeted this out at the game where you can't play this like there was a stoppage. Start the song earlier so we can get like 20 seconds of it, not 6.
Yeah.
And then I need more.
Right.
Because I'm not even listening to the song as much as I'm in my brain
dreaming,
rewatching the video.
Yes.
And there you go. And Gary sent me a picture, a video.
Oh, well, there you go.
Yeah, and I'm like, this is not helping,
it's
Gary.
Not helping.
It's not helping me. Anyway, somebody who understands great 80s music as much as anybody I know, we should play Pat Benatar for Mike Felder. In the bleachers on Twitter, it's Felder the Substack, Football Brain. How are you, sir?
Hey, man. Yo, hey, yo.
Exactly. I'm sorry. It just took me to a place last night, and it didn't let me go all the way there, and I was mad at the whole process. All right, so let's talk a little bit about the combine here, which is I heard it referred to yesterday as the greatest. What was it called? It's basically one of the great job fairs of all time. Now, these workouts, which started yesterday and will go through the weekend, and quarterbacks are going to throw and quarterbacks are not going to throw and all sorts of stuff. How does somebody like you who is so inside this industry, how do you look at what's going on this week?
I like to call it the Holy Trinity. Right?
Okay.
So they've already watched the film.
Right.
Film, if we're being honest, and I don't mean to be rude to anybody of any faith, but film should be probably your Holy Spirit.
Right.
Watching what the guys actually do on the field.
Right.
But two, if we're looking at, you got to do the next two pieces, I think that your measurables go in there, and then the next one is your interviews. And I guess that's how you interact with Jesus, who's going to be your boss for the next few years. So
this is way out of my league, by the way, just so people know.
I know you're a member of the tribe, my man. Don't worry.
I just don't know any. I don't even know my own.
So, but the thing for me is I do look at it as there's 3 things that you need to have. You need to have measurables.
Right.
You need to perform in the interviews. And the interviews include chalk talk, and they include like your personality, all those things. And then the other part is, the main part is still your film, and your film has the work. I talked to Christian Fitzpatrick, kid out of Marshall, and I talked to him with Braylon Edwards yesterday. And the big key for them was, like, you got to let them know that you love football. You got to let them know you love football, that you're willing to do anything to get on the field. You got to let them know that you are very interested, not just interested. Interested is the wrong word. You're invested.
Yeah.
in this. This is your life. And that's something that I don't think a lot of folks realize. Everyone thinks you're playing a game. Not playing a game. It's you trying to be one of the handful of 200 and, what are we talking about? 254 people that get drafted. And that doesn't count the guys that get drafted without going to the combine. So you're competing against 350 people to try to get one of those spots.
Mike Felder, the Substack is It's Felder in the bleachers on Twitter. So I just want to start with the highest profile players here. And first of all, is Travis Hunter, in your view, the best player in this draft?
I don't think so. I don't even think he's the best corner.
Really?
No, I think Will Johnson, longer, stronger. I got a text from one of my guys, Connor Rogers. Connor works for NBC New York, and I text Connor yesterday, and I say, when you get eyes on Travis Hunter, please tell me what he looks like. And his text, hang on, I can pull it right here. His text said that he is thin, and I got the text right here. Okay. There we go. There it is, Connor. Man, he is a slender dude. He really might be playing wide receiver when all this is said and done. And if that's the reality, great, fantastic. You get a slim wide receiver, and sure, that's going to probably help his body stand up to a lot more of it than playing corner. I think he should play corner. I think he'd be to me, he's corner number 2. But I know that the reason when I do my rankings, like for Bleacher Report, I put him at corner number 1 because I don't have the energy or the time or the patience to deal with people.
That's hysterical. That is preventive maintenance right there.
Yeah.
That is like get your oil changed, man. Just get your oil changed and ward off any other future issues. So, because he said the other day that he wants to play both, and that there were teams. Who was it? Tennessee is no. If we draft him, we're going to play him both sides of the ball. To me, that's Tennessee trying to drum up more interest in Travis Hunter so they can move him. But if he's equally good at both, he should play corner first and spot him at wide receiver, correct?
Yes, I think if he plays 2-3 snaps at wide receiver, but also the ball's going to go to him if he plays wide receiver. That's the way that scouting works. But also on the other side, I mean, I'm an old school guy, man. Do one thing and do it well. Like we didn't see Ray Lewis running the football. He could have played running back. Sure, we didn't see Ed Reed playing wide receiver. He probably could have done that too. We didn't see that. So do one thing, do it well, and build your body to be ready for that. I think the closest counterpart to this is probably Devin Hester. And you look at Devin Hester's career, he made it into the Hall of Fame as a
kick returner. Yeah.
Yeah. Because he wasn't that good at wide receiver and he wasn't that good at corner. So pick a thing that you're going to be good at and go out and do that really well. And that's the part that really I find frustrating because I think a lot of folks are enamored by Travis Hunter in terms of versatility.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, man, go play corner, be a really good corner, be a denial corner, which is where Will Johnson, to me, that's why I have Will Johnson as the number 1 corner. Because I think Will Johnson, in my mind, Will Johnson is someone that plays denial football, is long, is willing to trigger and go make tackles and does all those things. But you can't do all those things if you have to spend half your time in this meeting and half your time in that meeting. And that's the thing I don't think a lot of football fans think about is the amount of time you're not getting working on one craft because you're worried about another craft.
Mike Felder is joining us here on the Adam Gold Show. All right, so the bigger question would be for you, who is the best player in this draft?
Oh, give me Abdul Carter.
Okay.
High cut. And for folks that don't know, when I say high cut, I mean like if you're in, I don't want you to do this if you're in the car because it's dangerous. But if you're at your desk, look where your last rib is and imagine your leg started right there. High cut, can move, can run, can do everything. I got into a little bit of a thing because they messed up my lower third and they messed up the graphic. And I was like, I don't think that's what he plays. But I was like, you know what? I'm going with the graphic because he looks like a safety, right? Or
Okay.
he looks like a linebacker. But he's high cut. He can move. He's got great transition of speed to power. So I think Abdul Carter is the best player in this draft. I mean, you could throw Tyler Hunter in there. I think him, Will Johnson, absolutely. I think Ashton Genty, who I keep seeing being rated as the number 1 player, I don't see it, but I also understand that like he's been incredibly productive.
Right.
So we'll see what happens there. I think the 2 quarterbacks are, you have to put them in the top 10 because of this incredible thirst, but there's a lot of guys I'd rather take ahead of them, including Tyler Warren, the tight end from Penn State.
Penn State could end up having 2 of the best players in this draft.
So can Michigan.
That's right, because Will Johnson's from Michigan, and so is Mason Graham.
There you go.
So talk to me about Mason Graham. I know the Panthers are looking for a running mate for Derek Brown in the middle. Does Mason Graham fit next to Derek Brown?
Yeah, I love what I think he does fit. Specifically Panthers focus, I do think he can fit. The only thing he can't do is play probably a 5 and out, right? So a 5 technique and out. And what I mean by that is like you count 0 as a straight up head, then you call him a shade, then you go to 1, a 2, a 3, 4 eye, all those things. He can play all those positions. His arms aren't long enough for him to play at a 5 technique where you have to get that tackle off you like that.
Okay.
But he can play all those other positions. He's also played a stand-up 4. He is someone that reminds me a little bit of Christian Wilkins, Grady Jarrett. Like he's got this ability to be sneaky on the interior. And the 2 things for me, and you and I have talked about this before, to play defense you need effort and understanding. And he plays with maximum effort, and he has an understanding of what the assignment is. And the way that he's able to work interior stunts, there's not a lot of like TT stunts, right? There's not a lot of tech stunts, but he's able to do those things. And then he can also, when he kicks out to that 4 eye, he is able to come back inside and get to the quarterback. And then the effort, watching this guy chase down a play, a screen, where he gets up to the quarterback, then the ball's already out. And then watching him run down the ball carrier 12 yards down the field. Like a lot of guys they're just showing things for film. I don't know if people know this, but they look at what you're doing on film and all you have to do is fake it. But he is really trying and he makes those tackles. So I really like him.
Mike Felder is joining us here in the bleachers on Twitter. It's Felder, the Substack. Of the 2 quarterbacks, and I know there are other quarterbacks. I know Jackson Dart is supposedly a good quarterback. But of the 2, Felder's just wave it off. Don't give me a Jackson Dart. But of the 2 quarterbacks, Cam Ward from Miami and Shedeur Sanders from Colorado, which one do you like better? Do you think either is top 5 material, should be taken, can be a franchise quarterback?
I'm going to flip this around on you.
Okay.
Last year, what do we have? 6 guys in the top, 12?
Too many. The one that I liked the most was Michael Penix, but
who are we going to put ahead of those guys?
Before we actually give them a chance to learn how to play the position.
So I've got 2 things with this. One, yes, I agree with you. We overrate quarterbacks because there's this thirst for a franchise quarterback. I did a show. It's a very long show, just so folks know. It's 2.5 hours long, where I went around the league and asked people who their second best quarterback was in the NFL. And so it's like the Jets, who's your best quarterback? Most folks said Namath, and then they were like, I don't know who else. And
there is no second place. Richard Todd, second best quarterback in Jets history. Go Alabama.
So it's like it's wild to like think about the fact of how hard it is to get a franchise quarterback, right?
Yeah.
And they keep chasing and chasing and chasing and chasing and chasing and chasing and chasing. So there's that part. Then the other part is when we look at last draft to this draft, these guys are being pushed up, even though we would not rank them above the guys that we saw get picked last year. But they will be picked in the same slots as the guys we saw get picked last year, which is why Jackson Dart, who you mentioned, is going to go in the first round. Shouldn't.
Right.
What's the difference between Jackson Dart and Will Levis? What's the difference?
Does Jackson Dart not
eat mayonnaise? No.
Yeah, eat the peel. Does he put mayonnaise in coffee? But Will Levis has already also told us that was a lie, that he made that up.
But it's that. But
A
the
fraud.
point here is like the point I'm making is that
Right.
the market determines the outcome, and the outcome is we're going to at least see 3 quarterbacks get picked. Dart might be one of them, but I think to answer your question, Ward I think is better than Shedeur. But I will say this: if I'm the Jets, the Giants have already they've already made their bed. You lay in it, right?
Mm-hmm.
With the new contract, they're done. So it's the Jets releasing Rodgers. The Jets need a quarterback. So I think I would rather see Shedeur Sanders in New York City than Cam Ward, because Shedeur at least has been in the spotlight his whole life, and I think he can handle this, and I think he's got a good head on his shoulders for this situation. But I think Cam Ward is a better quarterback. But then again, Cam Ward is living in that Michael Penix world where there's a little, there's some dust on the tires. And so we'll see what that looks like. Although you play quarterback, man, what's going to happen to you? Like, realistically, you play quarterback. We're not talking about a running back like Ashton Genty.
Right.
Right? We're not talking about a guy like Luther Burden. Like, we're not like Burdine, excuse me. We're not talking about a guy that's been hit a bunch. We're not talking about an offensive lineman, defensive lineman. You're quarterback, man. You wear a red jersey.
I like. Look, I wouldn't take either of them in the beginning of the draft. I wouldn't.
Sure.
I would take the best defensive player or an offensive lineman. That's what I would do. But I am one of those people who says, look, all of these quarterbacks are rolls of the dice. Unless I know I've got a Cam Newton or an Andrew Luck or somebody like that coming out of college, I am not taking them early in the first round. I'm going to take the best football player and put them on the field. But that's what I would do. But I'm also not running an NFL team. Final thing for Mike Felder. I'm sure you're excited. You probably have already re-upped your Max, your HBO Max account. UNC, Bill Belichick, and Hard Knocks coming up. Your level of interest in this?
I didn't even have to re-up it, man. My wife watches it nonstop. But yeah, so this is going to be really interesting, and they're doing some curious things. I just am very. I think I'm taking my daughter to the spring finale. I just got the email from Kevin Donnelly about the final spring practice and going to the cookout and the whole deal. So tailgate, excuse me. And so I think we're going to go and do that. I am curious. I'm more excited is maybe not the right word. I'm more curious to see what this looks like.
Right.
Because talking to people that have played for him, talking to people that have worked with him, like this is going to be like he's going to have to change, but they're also going to have to grow up.
Right.
And I think growing up might be the key word here, because he's not your dad. He's not.
Oh, is you okay? All right, we have.
No, I'm good. I'm sorry.
Good. All right. So it's going to be like an education. I've already talked about this.
It's the difference, but what I'm saying is this is the difference between, to put it in perspective for people. My daughter's in elementary school.
Right.
They help her get out of the car, and they, make sure she walks her in, and this is good, and this is nice. I see high schoolers every day just walking straight. They're like their parents park, and they're like, well, we're not going to be able to get into the lot, so why don't you just get out now?
Right.
And so it's a different world.
Yeah.
And I'm sure you understand what I'm saying. So
100%.
I just think that you got to grow up. Because if we're going to make it a business, you better be ready for this business. And I think, honestly, like being like transparent, I do think that they're going to operate from a deficit, not UNC, but like these players. Not just UNC players, but these players where we're hiring a GM and we're dialing up these deals and trying to sign contracts. They're going to operate from a deficit because, don't know the percentage, but most of these families don't understand how this stuff works.
Right. That's true.
And if you don't have that part, it's going to be really hard. There's a reason Gronk was really good at the financial side of playing in the NFL. His family understood it. It's really hard to do when this is your first time, whether it's your first time going to college, your first time operating with like actual money, or operating with a coach that's like, hey man, we can do this and this, but you have to do this. So there are going to be some growing pains. And so, but I do think that me and a couple of my teammates, we've been talking about it on IG, doing our DMs, texting. I think we're going to go up and go to the spring game and really try to have some fun.
Well, good. Look, I said this earlier. I think this year, North Carolina will be the most watched football program in college football history. And it doesn't matter if they're good or not. I just think, the fact that TCU-UNC is the Labor Day night game, there's no reason ever why that should be the Labor Day night game.
Yeah.
We don't really have a football brand playing in the final game of the opening weekend of college football, but we have Bill Belichick, and this is going to be a fascination all season long. Enjoy that the spring fling finale. Mike Felder. It's Felder, the Substack. Thank you very much, my man. I'll talk to you soon.
All good, man. I am excited. I'm roasting hot dogs over an open fire with my daughter tonight.
I love hot dogs.
Yeah.
Right,
I'm making the buns right now.
You're making the buns?
Yeah, dude.
You're next level.
Come
You're
on.
next level. You're the best.
Let's go.
I'll talk to you later. Making the buns.
Of course he's making
Phenomenal.
the buns.
What a Renaissance man. All right, we're going to stretch and place bets next.
Talking sports so you don't have to pretend to know stuff. The Adam Gold Show on the North Carolina Sports Network.
Hey, it's Adam Gold from my friends at FanDuel, America's #1 sports book, and we are exiting the shortest month of the year for March. And you know what that means. College basketball. And right now, new customers on FanDuel can get $150 in bonus bets when your first $5 bet wins. That's right, $150 of their money to use as you see fit, as long as you win your first $5 bet. Time for you new customers to join in. FanDuel.com/AGS. FanDuel.com/AGS. Get in on all the college hoops action before March takes over. FanDuel, 21 and over and present in North Carolina. First online real money wager only. $5 first deposit required. Bonuses issued as non-withdrawable bonus bets, which expire 7 days after receipt. Restrictions apply. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. Gambling problem? Call 877-718-5543 or visit morethanagame.nc.gov.
Electricity. It's what powers our lives, from the ordinary to the extraordinary. In North Carolina, 26 local electric cooperatives provide energy to 2.8 million people across the state. But we're providing so much more than affordable, reliable power. We're helping to strengthen the people and communities that make our state great, today and for generations to come. North Carolina's electric cooperatives. Power you can count on, now and always. Learn more at ncelectriccooperatives.com.
Going to college gives you more career options. You could say it pays for itself, but it might not feel that way in the short term, especially when tuition's due. That's where the FAFSA comes in. The FAFSA is the free application for federal student aid. It's your gateway to money for college. Whether you're seeking scholarships, grants, work-study programs, or loans, it all starts with the FAFSA. So how about it? Make a plan for college and find everything you need for the FAFSA at cfnc.org.
During the sports season, the Governor's Highway Safety Program would like to remind you to buckle your seatbelt when traveling to and from athletic events. Wearing a seatbelt is your best defense against injury or death in a crash. Prioritize your safety and buckle up. Every seat, every time. Remember, click it or ticket. It's the law. This message is brought to you by the North Carolina High School Athletic Association and the Governor's Highway Safety Program.
AARP is working hard to make sure people in North Carolina are getting the most out of life. Whether it's helping you stay healthy, save more money, care for loved ones, or simply have some fun, AARP is making a difference in communities across the state. You have a wise friend and fierce defender with AARP. Learn more about progress being made for older adults in the state by listening to AARP Without Limits. You can find the latest episodes of AARP Without Limits wherever you listen to your podcasts.
It's okay not to be okay. Feelings of loneliness, anger, and worry are completely normal, and you're not alone. If you need help coping, call, text, or chat the free 988 Suicide and Crisis Lifeline. Someone is always there to talk, day or night. Together, we will find the care that works for you. Just call, text, or chat 988 anytime to talk to a trained counselor who will listen, provide support, and connect you to other resources that can help. Let's get through it together. Brought to you by the North Carolina Department of Health and Human Services.
Did you know that since you have public power, your electricity is operated and controlled by people in your community, not by a for-profit, investor-owned company? These local folks are directly accountable to you. They don't answer to shareholders. They make decisions for the good of your community. What's more, your public power provider invests in your community, providing jobs and supporting your local economy. Local people working together to meet local needs. That's public power. Learn more at electricities.com.
One Adam Gold. One Adam Gold.
Some of the best trades ever made are the ones you don't make. Again, I'm sure that there are tons of stories like that.
Kind of like a relationship. Sometimes the best ones are the ones that you didn't go out with, like that person that you tried to, and then you see them 10 years later and you're like, ooh, dodged a bullet.
So you sound like you've been there.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The Adam Gold Show.
It's the Adam Gold Show. I'm Adam Gold. Two of our favorites in the Roundtable, Cory Smith from Pack Pride and Jeremy Greene from ESPN Asheville. I know we'll talk some NFL draft with Jeremy. I mean, it's his Twitter handle, ESPN Draft Nerd. I mean, what else would we talk about?
It is, yeah.
And also the disappointment of NC State's season crashing out, whether it's tomorrow at Georgia Tech, or it's either of the next two. They have to win all three.
Mm-hmm.
There's really no option. And so last year they got to the ACC tournament thinking, well, we have to win it to get into the NCAA tournament. Well, they have to win all three to get into the ACC tournament now.
Yeah.
But we'll talk to both gentlemen about all sorts of things in the Roundtable next hour. Right now, let's stretch.
Well, this is the last day of February.
It's all over already.
I know. Tomorrow starts March, one of the best months of the year. I'm biased because that's my birthday month, but we won't talk about that. However, there are other things that happen other than my birthday in March. And so, here's a rundown. Daylight saving time starts next Sunday, people. So
wow, we're kicking the clocks forward already.
Yes, we're going to lose an hour of sleep that night, so
prepare
prepare
who needs
yourself.
An hour of sleep?
Yeah, sleep. So yeah, make sure you're prepared. Sometimes you got to wean yourself into it. So yeah, next week.
Wean yourself in?
Yeah, you got to prepare yourself. Start going to sleep a little different now, so it's not such a you know what when it gets here. It's rough. Losing the hours, not fun. But I do like it not being dark at 4:30.
Yeah.
So that's always great. And March 20th is the first day of spring, even though Mother Nature is going to give us some fake springs from now until then. But It officially starts the 20th. Also, in the sports world of March Madness is here, and unfortunately some of our teams won't be there, but Selection Sunday is also March 16th. Men get started on the 18th. Women's tournament starts the next day, and Major League Baseball season starts in a few weeks. My Cubbies and Dodgers will play the first series in Japan starting March 18th. And then opening day for everyone else is the 27th.
Yeah, they're playing, these games count.
Yeah.
Right, in Japan. But then it's like 2 weeks before they actually resume the season. It's
I know.
Weird, very odd. But I get doing it. I know why you would do it. So, yeah.
It's a thing.
Baseball is global.
Mm-hmm.
It is global.
Mm-hmm.
And it is the number one deal in the Far East. They love baseball.
Interesting. Well, they'll be in Japan to kick things off, so we'll see what my Cubs can do. Also, on the tube, if you want to watch something this March, there's the Oscars Sunday. I don't really watch the awards things, but also Grey's Anatomy. John Mulaney is hilarious. his Netflix thing comes on the 12th. And The Simpsons, I read this, The Simpsons returned for their 37th season, March 30th.
Really?
They've been on for a minute, so there's that. Also, when you look at holidays this month, Ramadan starts tonight. Lent, prepare yourself for people who get rid of things for Lent. Starts next Wednesday. So, yeah, there's that. And then St. Patty's Day is the 17th, so don't forget to wear your green.
I wore my green yesterday.
You did. I know. You gotta wear it again. Bring it back in the next, couple weeks.
I was the kid who didn't wear green on St. Patrick's Day in school and got pinched?
Yeah, you get pinched.
Right, if you don't wear green. I was that kid.
Maybe
I just liked getting pinched.
Maybe, I know.
You don't know.
Sometimes there's the other motive. So, yeah, who knows? Especially if you're Egyptians around. Maybe, though, in March, we could make some good bets.
Place your bets. Here we are. I bet you slice into the woods $100.
Gambling is illegal at Bushwood, sir, and I never slide.
Okay, you can owe me. I owe you nothing.
So yesterday, real quick, Seth Jarvis, anytime goal scorer, plus 185. And I told you, we knew West Ham would beat Leicester. I gave you an anytime goal scorer of Thomas Suchek. 21st minute. We got that out of the way. Plus 350. People, are you paying attention?
Look at that. Look at that.
There you go.
Well,
right, you're up.
My goal in the first 5 minutes happened, but that was it. So today, I'll kick things off. We've got some UFC this weekend. So looking at Cody Brundage versus Julian Marquez. Give me Cody Brundage. He is just an underdog in this one, so let me take him just outright. He's plus 100.
All right. I love value. You know, everybody knows that I love value. Tonight, 9 o'clock, the Minnesota Wild are in Colorado to take on the Avalanche. Mm-hmm. This is actually a very big game in the standings. Colorado, I believe, trails Minnesota by 2 for the third spot in the Central Division. I like Minnesota on the road. Plus 255.
Okay.
Minnesota plus 255 away to Colorado.
Oh, wow. Well, I'm going to jump ahead to our Canes game this Saturday, which I'll be at as a fan this time. So, that's always fun. Well, I'm always a fan, but I get to be loud as a fan there. So, I'm getting the Canes. Let's get another win, make it a streak, and I'll take the under 6.5. That's plus 210.
All right. Martin Necas to get 2 or more points. This is the world we live in now. You would think 2 or more points in a game. Martin Necas, it's only plus 176. Really?
Mm-hmm.
That seems low.
Right.
But we'll go Marty because we love Marty.
Exactly. Well, we do. And I'm going to look at Tampa Bay Lightning and the Capitals because Ovechkin's been on fire. He's going to keep trying to get points. But give me the Caps to actually win this one. They're in Washington. I'll take the over 5.5. That is plus 200.
All right. I just don't think there's a point spread right now you can set high enough that Duke won't cover it. Duke minus 23.5 at home to Florida State. North Carolina also minus 16.5 at home to Miami. Lay the points, both places, plus 267. Thank me later. When we come back, it will be the Wall of Sound.
From the heels,
touchdown, Carolina,
to the Canes.
She scores!
He covers it all. The Adam Gold Show on the North Carolina Sports Network.
Listen every afternoon for The Drive with Tim Donnelly.
Kevin Keats and state basketball have to do something, and I'll tell you what that is. They have to acknowledge what is happening. This season, it's a failure. That's not to say each individual player isn't working harder. There's no likable people in the program. It's just that after last season, this season, it's not enough. And they have to figure out how to fix it for next season.
The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 3 to 6 on 99.9 The Fan.
A new game has landed in North Carolina. Officials are calling this new species of game Cash Pop. So easy to play, it's out of this world. Reports confirm you just pick and match one number to win up to $2,500. With 5 drawings every day, cash landings have been cited across the state. So be on the lookout for Cash Pop from the North Carolina Education Lottery. The wins are out there. Must be 18 to play. See Cash Pop prize and odds chart at nclottery.com for details. Problem gambling helpline 877-718-5543.
Looking for the perfect kitchen, bath, or flooring? At Home Outlet, we don't just promise the guaranteed lowest price, we back it up.
Yeah, but how low are we talking?
We'll beat any competitor's price by 10%.
That's wow. But okay, what makes your store better?
Funny you should ask. We're 100% employee owned. Everyone here has a stake in making your home projects affordable and stress-free.
So I'm getting expert advice, unbeatable prices, and I'm supporting employees who actually care?
Exactly. Why shop anywhere else? Home Outlet, kitchens, baths, floors, and more at the guaranteed lowest price. Visit us at homeoutlet.com today.
Do you have 3 ex-wives and your current trophy wife wants a life insurance policy 3 times the size of the policies you had to purchase for your previous mistakes? If so, you need to call Big Lou at Term Provider, 800-444-2013. Big Lou is intimately familiar with your problems, and if you're 50 or 60 years old and in reasonably good health, a $1 million policy should only cost about $100 to $200 per month. Big Lou may have a solution for your previous policies as well. You may even save enough money to lighten the load on your new $1 million policy. Remember, call Big Lou. He's like you, except he's only on number 2. Call Term Provider at 800-444-2013. That's 800-444-2013. For $1 million in term life insurance that you can live with. Call Big Lou at 800-444-2013. 800-444-2013.
Charlie did not die from an overdose. Charlie was poisoned.
Websites and social media selling fake medicines may look legitimate, but they're not.
He died in less than 15 minutes after taking the pill.
Any medication not purchased from a licensed pharmacy could be deadly.
No other family should go through this. It's just horrific.
Go to safe.pharmacy. Learn about fake medicine on social media and if an online pharmacy is safe.
The future depends on teachers who are reinventing the classroom and starting their students on journeys that will change the course of history. Shape the future. Teach. Learn more and receive free support at teach.org.
O'Reilly! Check engine light on? Take the guesswork out of your check engine light with O'Reilly Veriscan. It's free and provides a report with solutions based on over 650 million vehicle scans verified by ASE certified master technicians. And if you need help, we can recommend a shop for you. Ask for O'Reilly Veriscan today.
O'Reilly Auto Parts.
This hour of the Triangle Sports Leader is powered by Ritchie Law Firm, injury lawyers. Ritchie Law is on top of it. Go to ritchielaw.com.
That's ritchielaw.com.
WCMC HD1 Holly Springs. Take us with you on the radio, Instagram, TikTok, Alexa, and YouTube. 99.9 The Fan, the Triangle Sports Leader.
I think 1 of 3 teams go win the national championship in college basketball. 3? I've got 3. Some people say 2. I'm putting in a 3rd. Duke, Auburn, Houston. You give me those 3, you can have the field. Houston, for the last 5 or 6 years, has had one of the top 2 or 3 defenses every year. But I think the thing people aren't talking about with Houston this year is they have a top 6 offense. This year, they are one of only 3 teams, along with Auburn and Duke, to have a top 10 offense and a top 10 defense. To me, that puts them in contention to win it.
It's the Adam Gold Show. I'm Adam Gold. Victoria on the 1s and 2s. We're going to do a wall of sound. We have a roundtable coming up. Cory Smith from Pack Pride and our friend Jeremy Greene from ESPN Asheville. We'll do a little NFL draft-ish type stuff. We'll talk some hoops. We'll. I didn't see a score. Did the Hornets lose by a lot last night?
Probably.
I'll look it up because they were only 9.5-point underdogs.
Oh.
Yesterday, and they had been like the margin of victory over the last 3 games was over 30.
Yes.
Like for each of those games, and I thought, man, just getting 9.5 points at Dallas.
They only lost by
7.
7.
I said it was a sucker. Wow. I said it was a tease, like they're trying to suck you in.
Mm-hmm.
But I didn't have the guts to do anything on that because I mean, why?
103 to 96. Who
Yeah.
would have thought?
At least the Mavericks won. They're not in a good way. By the way, I saw this news that the Mavericks. By the way, it's the Adam Gold Show. You can find us on YouTube, youtube.com/Adam Gold Show or /999 The Fan. Rate, subscribe, like, whatever. That the Mavericks, before calling the Lakers and trying to get Anthony Davis, they offered Luka Doncic to the Minnesota Timberwolves for Anthony Edwards. So it wasn't that you tried to get Anthony Davis. It's that you really just tried to get rid of Luka Doncic. And I'm not criticizing the move. I'm just saying that this is where Dallas's mindset was, is that we got to get rid of him. Do with that whatever you want. I'm not assigning any level of importance or what to it. I'm just saying that is amazing to me that an organization like the Mavericks got to a point that they just wanted to get rid of Luka Doncic. And the truth is that that's kind of what they did, because Anthony Davis is older than Doncic and has a massive history not staying healthy. I'm just not sure what Dallas did. But Doncic, if he can stay in shape, Doncic and LeBron could play together for another 4 years. They're already fun to watch. They're already super fun to watch. So there's that. One more thing before we get to a wall of sound. The Rams re-signed Matthew Stafford. They reworked the contract for him, so I think it's a 2-year deal to remain the quarterback of the Rams. The Giants thought they were going to get Matthew Stafford. Clearly the Giants want to go veteran quarterback route, so guess who the Giants' backup plan is?
Uh-oh. Oh, no. Really?
Aaron Rodgers.
He's still in it.
Gosh, I hope this happens.
Oh, wow.
So think about the Giants and a hot seat year for the head coach, Brian Daboll, trying to make it work, and Aaron Rodgers.
Oh, wow. Woo! You sure you don't want to do another Hard Knocks?
Exactly. They did it last year, right? The Jets were in Hard Knocks last year.
You could just follow Aaron to each team he goes to now.
Oh.
It's perfect.
Oh, my gosh. All right, wall of sound.
The wall of sound is a function of this studio. There's no doubt about it.
All right, the Hurricanes started a game last night with a Four Nations face-off tribute as Jesperi Kotkaniemi and Dylan Cousins dropped the gloves right at the opening face-off. The head coach on what it did.
I mean, not even sure how that all came about, but I think it was good on him to do that. I mean, answer the bell or whatever, how that transpired. And then, like you said, it was a great period. It was bad bounce and they get a goal. It's been kind of happening a little bit for us, but thankfully we were up. We weren't have to chase that game, so it's a great first period.
How did? At what point did Kotkaniemi decide that this was the way he was going to go?
Is that just a spur of the moment, or was that something you've been thinking about?
I think during the anthem.
Okay. During the anthem.
Yeah, it's good to be back here. It's been a while, and with the crowd pumping a little bit, so we'll get that going.
It's a show. Hey, it's a show during the anthem.
Yeah. Right.
Our friend Mason Greer, he sang the anthem last night.
He did.
What did Mason do that made Jesperi decide, you know what? I want to fight somebody.
I'm mad.
I blame Mason. Kidding. It's not Mason's fault. But the good start was good for a lot of reasons, right? Scored a power play goal. Mikko Rantanen had a goal and an assist. And he could maybe just exhale a little bit. Rantanen on the start.
Yeah, it was good, Obviously good job by KK to start the game and bury the guy there, so it gave us a lot of energy and the building was rocking after that for a while, and then just just makes the game a lot easier when you score the first goal, and if you can get 3 of the first, it's easier to play with the lead than always chase the games, which we've been doing lately, so got to take a recipe out of that and try to repeat it.
It's always good. If you can get 3, if you score the first 3 goals, generally you win.
In the first 10 minutes.
Yep. Generally you win. All right. We have talked about Travis Kelce and whether or not he would retire or, if I'm the Chiefs, I got a decision to make, but maybe you don't. So apparently Travis Kelce texted Pat McAfee, who's doing his shows from the Combine this week, about this upcoming season.
Message was, my dog, exclamation point, exclamation point, exclamation point. Source says, I'm coming back for sure. Going to try and get to the best shape I've been this offseason and get back to the mountaintop. Got a real bad taste in my mouth with how I played in that last game and how I got the guys ready for battle. I can't go out like that. Exclamation point, exclamation point, exclamation point, and guess what? One more exclamation point.
Wow.
Huge.
Okay, so that's the Travis Kelce future conversation.
So he's probably coming back.
I think you could probably.
Yeah,
I think you
like
could say. I think you could say Travis Kelce's coming back to play football yet again, and I think he had that idea. I would assume before the Super Bowl, whenever he did media day, he said in 3 years I see myself playing football yet. But then with the way that game goes, knowing that he is an Ohio guy who's a football guy. With how everything has gone and what his career has been. Remember, the Chiefs weren't always good when he was on that team. He had to persevere. He had to continue to grow, evolve. He got better as a player, as a human, I would assume he would predict, as a professional, everything. And then he's gotten to the point now where he's in GOAT conversations with anybody that's talking about tight ends. That's a situation that doesn't happen to many players in the history of the game. And obviously, he has represented our sport fantastically while dating the most famous person on earth.
Yeah.
We love Travis. Now, obviously, whenever you're in the public eye, there are going to be things that are going to come out from people's mouths that aren't as positive all the time. There's going to be reasons for people to find to hate Travis Kelce. There's going to be reasons for people to find to hate the Kansas City Chiefs. There's going to be reasons for people to hate Taylor Swift, even though a lot of it makes no sense to me. Sometimes, if you're just on the top of the mountain, people are going to throw rocks at things that shine. Shout out Taylor Swift for that particular quote. But what you can't deny is the greatness of Travis Kelce. You can't deny that he is one of one. You can't deny that he is an anomaly. You can't deny that the guy loves ball, fully committed. And in the Andy Reid accountability-driven type building, I don't think enough credit is given about this guy being an absolute dog, day in, day out, showing up to work, already great, already rich, already has a resume, already in the Hall of Fame. And it's like he's a guy that loves ball. And we love Travis. And I'm excited to see him get back on the field.
All right. Now, my favorite part of that, it was a while ago, was the 4th exclamation point.
Right? With the little sound effects?
Yeah. That was my favorite part of that. Was the
like an
4th
SNL.
exclamation point. Now you know it's real.
Right, it's legit.
Because there are 4 exclamation points.
I really mean what I just said. Oh, yeah.
Oh,
it's like
man.
an SNL skit. That little chunk right there sounds just like an SNL skit.
It's unbelievable. So, look, he looked washed to me. But
yeah. All games except like 3. The whole season, including postseason games.
I still think that, and maybe I'm wrong, and I absolutely could be. I still think that it was more that Patrick Mahomes wasn't good than Travis Kelce wasn't good, but hey, maybe Kelce wasn't where he was supposed to be. I don't know.
Who knows?
But as a tandem, they were ineffective in the Super Bowl. And Kelce counts a certain number against the cap. I don't know if maybe they'll restructure his salary or not, but Travis Kelce, look, what great players still playing the sport that they want to play. That's good. That's just a general positive. So I hope he has a good year. He is certainly a fun player to watch. So
he is.
And maybe he should have, I don't know, on the back, like number 87 exclamation point.
He needs exclamation points for sure.
That should be an available number in the NFL. You should be. He's number question mark.
Yeah,
right.
He's number 0 exclamation point.
That would have been like J.C. Horn last year.
Oh, big time.
Yeah, number question mark.
Big
I'm kidding.
time.
I'm kidding. All right, we're going to take a break, come back in the roundtable. Cory Smith from Pack Pride, Jeremy Greene, ESPN Asheville. We've got football. We've got basketball. I'll handle the hockey. Next.
Chapel Hill to Charlotte, Greenville to Greensboro. Your sports, his state. The Adam Gold Show on the North Carolina Sports Network.
Caniacs, get ready for Iced Tea, a brand new podcast that gives you the behind-the-scenes stories from the Carolina Hurricanes. You watch the game back?
Yeah, all the time.
And are you hard on yourself?
Oh, God, yeah.
Any of the players ask for their crust off?
We do have one player that I cut the crust off, and I individually wrap it for him.
Your name is on the Stanley Cup.
It's the best trophy in sports.
Follow Iced Tea with Megan LaMontagne in any podcast app or watch the show on YouTube.
Hey, it's Adam Gold from my friends at FanDuel, America's #1 sports book. And we are headed to the penultimate weekend of ACC basketball, North Carolina, Miami at home. You're not going to blow this. We know the Tar Heels are going to win this game. Remember, about 2 weeks ago, I told you the Tar Heels were plus 190 to make the NCAA tournament. People must think that's getting closer. They're now plus 145. Should have gotten in on the action earlier. Tar Heels are going to make a push for it, even if they don't beat Duke. But they'll beat Miami. Duke will beat Florida State handily, and we'll all have a good weekend. FanDuel.com/Adam Gold. FanDuel.com/Adam Gold for hoops. 21 and over and present in North Carolina. First online real money wager only. $5 first deposit required. Bonuses issued as non-withdrawable bonus bets, which expire 7 days after receipt. Restrictions apply. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. Gambling problem? Call 877-718-5543 or visit morethanagame.nc.gov.
Aunque no estás hoy a mi lado, yo sé que tú vas a llegar. Los girasoles nunca dejan de girar.
My name is Luis Fonsi. A lot of people don't know enough about Alzheimer's and dementias. We've seen it in movies, we all know somebody, but there's a lot of information that people still don't know. I'm personally still learning so much about it. I would say to those people who have loved ones who are going through it, don't be afraid to ask questions. Don't be afraid to get help. Don't be afraid to put it out in the open, because it will be better for them and for their loved ones.
Con la certeza que respiro, te amaré.
Resources are available at alz.org and by calling the Alzheimer's Association's 24/7 free hotline at 800-272-3900.
Are you looking for more in this world? Are you ready for something bigger? Then we are looking for you. The big-hearted, the bold, the messy and the gutsy. The teachers, the growers, the builders. The skilled, the sharers, the change makers. We need you. We are the Peace Corps. In more than 60 countries, we go all in and all out. We are volunteers, partners, communities, working together, living together, bringing our experience, passion, and joy to building a better world together. From tackling climate change in Mexico to keeping kids healthy in Kenya, from sustainable farming in the Philippines to education in Kosovo. We learn more, give more, share freely, and serve boldly. Are you ready to tackle the tough stuff? To go the distance to make a difference? Then we have a place where you belong. Join us at peacecorps.gov.
When you're hiring, have you ever felt like you're missing out on meeting great candidates? Well, they're not hard to find when you go to ZipRecruiter. ZipRecruiter helps 10 million people with their job search every day. People who are actively looking for jobs like yours. So it's easy to find the right person fast. 4 out of 5 employers who post on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. Try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/free. That's ZipRecruiter.com/free.
One Adam Gold. One Adam Gold.
Was the hug because of the soft, fuzzy thing you're wearing?
It's a compliment. I'm a great hugger. People like to hug me. So, but yes, it's helpful when I'm soft and fuzzy.
Is that a skill?
It may be, yes.
I think it is a skill.
I think it is a skill.
Yeah.
You know who else gives really great hugs? Mike Meniscalco.
Really?
He is one of my favorite huggers. Yes. Every time I see him, he gives the best hugs.
I'm going to try that at the next home game.
Do it.
The Adam Gold Show.
It's the Adam Gold Show. I am Adam Gold. Victoria on the ones and twos. I haven't brought this up yet, but I thought before we get into the rewind, or rather the roundtable, I should. On Sunday, the NC State women beat Notre Dame in double overtime. College Game Day was here for that. And that was the day that Wes Moore just went, yeah, College Game Day was here, whatever. He just whatevered College Game Day. It was awesome. And we talked to him about it Monday. It's possible that the Wolfpack broke the Irish, who just lost at home to Florida State. So the number 3 team in the country, after State was done with them, lost again. Maybe the Wolfpack broke them. Are we ready? Here we go.
Camelot. It's only a model.
I mean, everything's on the table, correct? Especially if the table is round. It is the round table. We will start with Jeremy Greene, ESPN Asheville, at ESPN Draft Nerd on Twitter. Sir, how you doing?
I'm good. I'm enjoying a lovely day in Indianapolis, watching underwear Olympics. For me, this is as good as it gets. I'm fantastic.
You went to Indianapolis for this?
I go to the Combine every year.
Really?
I love Indianapolis, and I am leading the charge of the NFL has made some mistakes in my opinion, in my life. Moving the Combine from Indianapolis would be the dumbest thing that the NFL has ever done.
First of all, Indianapolis is a great city for this. It's also a great city for the Final Four. I've said this many, many times. If I were the NCAA, I would have the Final Four in Indianapolis and San Antonio only. I would just go back and forth. I wouldn't go to New Orleans. I wouldn't go anywhere. I would just go back and forth between Indy and San Antonio, the 2 perfect cities for the Final Four. Indy is a great city. Everything is walkable. It's all in the same place. The Dome is right behind the convention center. It is phenomenal. And absolutely.
Indy's one of the only cities in America that you can have 5 media guys, me, who looks like Luke Combs if you stretched him out in Photoshop, and 2 NFL head coaches doing shots at a bar, and nobody cares. Nobody cares.
It's a great spot. I'm 100% in agreement with you. Why do you like the Combine? I mean, it's just basically it's an NFL job fair. We don't really do we really get anything out of it?
You learn a little bit at the workouts. It really helps me as I go through the evaluations because I can put a face to a name, and it's not even really bad. These guys are just all walking around the convention center, so you run into guys and you have, I don't know, 5, 10, 15-second conversation on the escalator.
Right.
And it actually tells me a lot about who these guys are. I've never had a more accurate draft than I did last year, and I spent more time in Indy than I ever had before. And so now I just come every year. I spend a week, rent an Airbnb, run the show from here for a week, and I love every second of it.
All right, so tell me who your favorite player is. This is Jeremy Greene, ESPN Asheville. We're hooking up with Cory Smith, having some technical issues right now. Who's your best player available?
Best player in this draft is Travis Hunter.
Okay.
Abdul Carter is very, very close at 2. Then there's a drop. I would say those are the only 2 generational guys. Mason Graham is my 3, and he has little short T-Rex arms, and it's one of the only times that I don't care.
Mason Graham is a T-Rex? Is that what you just called him?
He has little short T-Rex arms
that
they're way too short for his body. And I knew that watching the film. I didn't know they were as short as they were. But I don't really care because he's just kind of a short, squatty. He reminds me of Aaron Donald if you bought Aaron Donald on Wish.
Right.
And Wish Aaron Donald is still probably a 10-time Pro Bowler, so I'm fine with that.
So as somebody who, I mean, I'm not a Panthers fan, but we follow the Panthers. And I asked this of my friend Mike Felder earlier, who's also a football brainiac, and I'm going to bring up something that he brought up in a second. Is Mason Graham a good fit next to Derek Brown in your estimation?
Would he be? Yes. You would have two really elite 3-4 defensive ends. The problem is that you wouldn't have a zero-tech nose tackle, and it's going to be hard to find one of those. We're not getting those out of college football the way that we used to. You get guys like Deion Walker, who's he's really big. The body size is right for an NFL nose tackle. The problem is he can't stop the run, which I will never understand how that happens, because to stop the run in a 3-4, the job of the big guy is to be big and get in the way. And when you're big and can't get in the way, I can't wrap my brain around that. I think Mason Graham would be a good fit. You would just need another piece. He'll never make it to Carolina. He's not going to get to 8.
He's not. Maybe they have to trade up. So, first of all, Mike said that he thinks that Will Johnson is a better corner than Travis Hunter. Your thoughts on that?
I don't fully disagree with him. It depends on how you play him. So Travis Hunter can play man, he can play zone, he can play quarters, he can play 3-top, he can play virtually any kind of coverage. Will Johnson really only fits in a system where he plays man some, because every team plays man some, but he plays zone at a really high rate because he's read and react.
Right.
So he plays off and he can adjust. It's a great skill set of he keeps his eye on the quarterback, keeps his eye on the receiver, and he adjusts to – it's almost like you're watching two things at once and they have a crux, and he can really jump on that. I love Will Johnson. I loved his interview here at the Combine where somebody asked him, what do you say about the fact that you can't run all that fast? And his response was, has it slowed me down so far? And I'm just in the back going, yeah, what he said. That was good. That was great. He was coached well. I like Will Johnson a lot. I mean, look, the kid was the defensive MVP of the national championship game.
Yeah.
So we start getting into the minutia of, well, does he run a 4.42 or a 4.47 or a 4.55? Can he play football? He
Right.
can play football really, really well. I've watched him do it for 3 years. He was hurt this past year. And, the tape this year's not that great. The tape from the 2 years previous was elite. So I'm chalking that up as an injury, and I think Carolina would be ecstatic to have him at 8.
Yeah, and they need a corner. I go back to the draft last year when in the second round they traded back up to get Jonathan Brooks when there were 3 pretty good cornerbacks sitting there in the second round. I said it at the time. I thought that was a miss, and it has nothing to do with whether or not – I didn't even know that Jonathan Brooks was dealing with a knee injury, and it had nothing to do with that, and it had nothing to do with the fact that he got hurt again. I just thought a position of need – especially with the uncertainty of J.C. Horn, because finally last year he played, that they needed another cornerback, and they still went and took a running back. I didn't understand that then. I still don't understand it. Either way, I have a video article. I can't. It's not that I can't write anymore. I can't edit anymore. Right.
My grammar has gotten worse as I've aged. So I do everything in video now.
Sure.
Because you don't know in a video that I don't know where to put a comma. I'm doing a video blog and the title of it is "Stop Trading Up"
Yes.
in the NFL draft, because you get burned almost every single time that you do it. And I went back over the last 5 years and pulled every trade and graded them and analyzed them as we've gotten to the point where we can really look at the classes and see who won. 75% of the time, the team that trades down wins.
Yeah, but in those 25%, you've got Patrick Mahomes.
Yes, there are. Those are the ones that they mess up the curve, Adam.
You've got that. And it all depends. Like, look, when the Giants took Saquon Barkley, right? Nobody is saying that Saquon Barkley wasn't an elite NFL running back prospect. But the Giants didn't have a good team. So what's the use of a great running back on a mediocre team? Great running backs will not take you from bad to good. Great running backs could take you from where Philadelphia was last year to where Philadelphia is this year. That's what great running backs can do.
I have terms for those picks, and we have them every year, where a team will take a player that's not necessarily, in terms of positional value, not going to change your fortunes. I call those Maseratis in front of dilapidated houses. You're investing your dollars into the wrong thing to make your life better.
Or pillars at the end of a at the end of a driveway in a bad area. Jeremy Greene, ESPN draft nerd on Twitter. Either quarterback worth, because I know the Jets, this is what Mel Kiper said, the Jets might be interested in Shedeur Sanders. Is either quarterback good enough?
Well, first of all, I'm going to start with what you said there about the Jets being interested in Shedeur Sanders. According to my sources, which is them looking directly in my face, they're not as interested in Shedeur as you think. They're very interested in Jackson Dart. I love Jackson Dart. Okay. So I do. I love him.
At number 7 or wherever the Jets pick?
I would like it to not be at 7, but I said Jackson Dart's freshman year at USC, I said on our radio show, ESPN in Asheville, Jackson Dart will be the number 1 pick in the draft 3 years from now. I'm obviously wrong on that.
Yes.
But I've always believed in the talent. Now, as for what you asked me about, are any of the quarterbacks good enough? At 1, no. Neither one of these guys should go in the top 10 because they're not top 10 quarterbacks. And I don't know how often we have to do this before teams figure out, yes, we have to have a quarterback, but at some point you have to wrap your brain around. Shedeur Sanders is, for me, the number 87 player in this class. And we're talking about taking him at 5 or at 3 or wherever.
That's what we do. That's what we do with quarterbacks. It's the dumbest thing. It just doesn't
make any sense. And yes, quarterbacks are more valuable, but this is I said this on our live last night after the workouts, where I basically spent an hour talking about how Shamar Stewart needs to be tested to make sure he's not an alien. You draft a quarterback, and then you're invested in them for 3 years. So if you overdraft one, basically all you're doing is shaving off your ceiling.
Yeah.
Yes, you have a quarterback. No, you don't have to worry about going to get a quarterback, but you still don't have a good quarterback.
You do have to worry about going to get a quarterback in a year, in 2 years. It's dumb.
Hey, you can live on the cycle that the Jets live on, which is, I never get really close to a Jets quarterback, even though I work with the team. I never get close to a Jets quarterback because they're never around long enough for me to actually get to know them all that well.
They are the Jets. They will always be the Jets. The survey came in, last, right? Woody Johnson, worst owner?
Yes. I thought this was the year that Aaron Rodgers and I were going to do ayahuasca together. I was very excited. I met with a shaman. I got a headdress and a whole garb that I was going to wear for that, and now he's gone. So thanks, Jets.
Very nice. Well, I mean, if you become a Giants fan, maybe it'll work out there. It's
not going to be Matthew Stafford, which
no, Stafford's going back to the Rams.
I don't know why that was so hard for people to figure out. So I called the Combine lying week. You really cannot believe anything that anybody says to you, but there's an addendum to that sentence. You can't believe anything that anybody says to you when you're all sober in the convention center. Now, you go out in downtown Indianapolis, it might cost you a steak at Elmo's, but you can really get some good information if you're willing to wait it out.
Jeremy Greene, ESPN Asheville, ESPN Draft Nerd on Twitter. Enjoy Indy, man. I will talk to you very soon.
Thank you, brother. I appreciate you guys as always, and we'll talk soon.
You got it. Jeremy Greene here. The other part of that table we found. We'll take a quick break. We'll come back. Cory Smith spent a few minutes with us from Pack Pride about the last 3 games of the NC State men's basketball season, plus how the women broke Notre Dame. Next.
Making more sports sense than social media trolls. The Adam Gold Show on the North Carolina Sports Network.
Hey, it's Adam Gold from my friends at FanDuel, America's #1 sports book. When the game tips off, the NBA action is just beginning on FanDuel. Again, America's #1 sports book, because FanDuel's your home for live NBA betting. So even if you miss the start of the game, you're not out of luck. However you want to play, now is the perfect time to join. New customers get started with $150 in bonus bets if your first $5 bet wins. Just visit FanDuel.com/AGS. FanDuel.com/AGS. for your shot at $150 in bonus bets. FanDuel, make every moment more. 21 and over and present in North Carolina. First online real money wager only. $5 first deposit required. Bonuses issued as non-withdrawable bonus bets, which expire 7 days after receipt. Restrictions apply. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. Gambling problem? Call 877-718-5543 or visit morethanagame.nc.gov.
Electricity. It's what powers our lives, from the ordinary to the extraordinary. In North Carolina, 26 local electric cooperatives provide energy to 2.8 million people across the state. But we're providing so much more than affordable, reliable power. We're helping to strengthen the people and communities that make our state great, today and for generations to come. North Carolina's electric cooperatives. Power you can count on, now and always. Learn more at ncelectriccooperatives.com.
Going to college gives you more career options. You could say it pays for itself. But it might not feel that way in the short term, especially when tuitions do. That's where the FAFSA comes in. The FAFSA is the free application for federal student aid. It's your gateway to money for college. Whether you're seeking scholarships, grants, work-study programs, or loans, it all starts with the FAFSA. So how about it? Make a plan for college and find everything you need for the FAFSA at cfnc.org.
During the sports season, the Governor's Highway Safety Program would like to remind you to buckle your seatbelt when traveling to and from athletic events. Wearing a seatbelt is your best defense against injury or death in a crash. Prioritize your safety and buckle up. Every seat, every time. Remember, click it or ticket. It's the law. This message is brought to you by the North Carolina High School Athletic Association and the Governor's Highway Safety Program.
AARP is working hard to make sure people in North Carolina are getting the most out of life. Whether it's helping you stay healthy, save more money, care for loved ones, or simply have some fun, AARP is making a difference in communities across the state. You have a wise friend and fierce defender with AARP. Learn more about progress being made for older adults in the state by listening to AARP Without Limits. You can find the latest episodes of AARP Without Limits wherever you listen to your podcasts.
I'm Faith. I work as an American Sign Language interpreter, and I just graduated from my bachelor's program. I texted 988 because at the moment where I needed help, I realized that I didn't have access to English at the moment. Sometimes speaking gets hard for me, and they just helped me calm down, and then I was able to find a friend. It's free, and you can get in touch with people who are trained to help through all sorts of crises.
Call, text, or chat 988 24/7.
Did you know that since you have public power, your electricity is operated and controlled by people in your community, not by a for-profit, investor-owned company? These local folks are directly accountable to you. They don't answer to shareholders. They make decisions for the good of your community. What's more, your public power provider invests in your community, providing jobs and supporting your local economy. Local people working together to meet local needs. That's public power. Learn more at electricities.com.
Gold. Gold.
Was the hug because of the soft, fuzzy thing you're wearing?
It's a comment. I'm a great hugger. People like to hug me. But yes, it's helpful when I'm soft and fuzzy.
Is that a skill?
It may be, yes.
I think it is a skill.
I think it is a skill.
Yeah.
You know who else gives really great hugs? Mike Meniscalco.
Really?
He is one of my favorite huggers. Yes. Every time I see him, he gives the best hugs.
I'm going to try that at the next home game.
Do it.
The Adam Gold Show.
It's the Adam Gold Show. I'm Adam Gold. We'll rewind it a little bit. Victoria's here, producing the program. We're still breaking in new shoes here.
Yeah, we are.
You know, you get a new pair of shoes. Like when I used to be athletic, you get cleats, right? And the first time you get new cleats, like, man, you get blisters. Like, yeah, man, I like them, but, man, they hurt, all of that. You got to break them in.
Anyone who wears Chuck Taylors, every time, it takes a long time to break them in.
That is true. We're still trying to break in some new technology. It failed us. And to be honest, this is great. Cory Smith, Pack Pride. Is he there? Are you there?
I am.
Yes! That's amazing because Victoria couldn't even communicate with you.
I couldn't let him know.
You could have hung up and that would have been fine and you would have been justified. But I don't know. You've been on hold now for, I don't know, half hour. How are you, man?
I'm doing well. I'm doing well.
I don't know what exactly happened with the phones there.
Yeah, very weird. It's very weird. I don't know either. I'm the last person on this earth that would figure that out. But let me just ask you this question. This will probably end up being short, and I apologize for that, but you're a good person. We got 3 games left of this NC State men's basketball season. I mean, I guess they could win all 3. But how do you sum up what happened in Syracuse, and especially after the Wake Forest game, when you thought, man, maybe they're getting some traction finally at the right time? How do you sum up where we are?
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, it's just one of those weird things where for NC State, they just have not been able to put it all together for a consistent game. You know, you go back to the games that they've had against Virginia Tech on the road. They lost those in the second half, and the last couple games they've lost, actually the last 3 games they've lost, have all been games where they've just been smacked in the mouth early and haven't been able to put it together late. You know, just can't claw back in those. The 2 wins over BC, and then you had the win over, Wake Forest. They were able to run out to early leads, but just couldn't figure it out, late in the games again. The last 3 they've lost, and all 3 of those have been blowout losses. And if you try to sum up the season as a whole, it's just, it's been a massive disappointment. And there's really no way to put it otherwise. A team that made a miracle run to get to the ACC championship last year now needs to make a miracle run in the last 3 games just to be able to get to the ACC tournament. I never thought this team would have been there going into the season.
Yeah, and in some ways they're in the exact same position they were in a year ago. Michael O'Connell should channel his inner half-court heave or bank shot. Cory Smith, Pack Pride, is joining us here on the Adam Gold Show. Is there? This is all revisionist history, but it does seem like the go-to guy they were looking for all year long might be named Dontrez Styles. So, what exactly took so long to get to a point where it seemed like he is their best, most willing player?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, as far as what you're going to get offensively for NC State, you really need for him to get going. And, I think back to the Cal loss, they tried to get him going over and over and over again in the middle of the offense, and he just couldn't get his shot to fall in that one. But, they've tried to go through him multiple times. They've gone through Paul McNeil as well. Obviously, the game against Wake Forest, that worked out pretty well. But what you really need for a guy like Dontrez Styles is somebody else to take some of the pressure off of him. And that was why he had such a great game against Wake Forest. And, he got going in the second half against, this past week against Syracuse. But, again, it was too little too late in that game. He had 0 points at the half and 17 in the second half. So you really need somebody around him to be able to, take some of the pressure off of him on the offensive side of the basketball. He's rebounded the ball really well for NC State. He's been the only guy that's consistently rebounded the basketball well. But, if you don't have somebody else to help him, it's been Marcus Hill at times, and then it's been Paul McNeil at times, and sometimes you've gotten the bigs to be able to produce, and sometimes Michael O'Connell can hit shots. But really, outside of Dontrez Styles, you don't know who's going to be a consistent producer on a game-by-game basis, and that's a major part of the issue right now for NC State as far as scoring the basketball.
Cory Smith, Pack Pride, is joining us here on the Adam Gold Show. I'll get to women's basketball in a second, but just in a big picture way. Now, okay, so the chances of them winning 3 in a row, because that's what they have to do. They're going to have to win 3 straight to make the ACC tournament. They're not good because if you're in this position, winning 3 in a row is probably like winning the lottery. What's your sense of the state of the program? Does this reflect on the program from maybe not a personal perspective, but what people around the program are saying?
Yeah, it's a weird position right now because, for Kevin Keats, you did everything. You literally earned the 2-year extension that you got this past year. You had to make it to the ACC championship, win the whole thing, make it to the Final Four in order to be able to trigger some of those contract extensions. But, right now the state of the program is you look back at last year, and last year was a disappointment up until that run.
Yes.
This year is a massive disappointment. So the state of the program is, outside of a 9-game run in the middle of all this, it's really been a lot of underproducing. And I think that's part of the question mark going into all this is you look over at UNC and what they're doing with Hubert Davis, they're buying in. They're saying, all right, we extended him until 2030. We're going to put a new GM in place. They're going to get other, personnel around that to build this program because we believe in Hubert Davis. The question mark for NC State is that what you're going to do this offseason? Are you going to say we're going to keep Kevin Keats for, however long and give him this extra year to try to build, or are you just not going to buy in and are they going to move in a different direction this offseason? And I never thought that would even be a question mark, but after this kind of season and after the way that the program has been, aiming or basically the ship has been heading towards over the last couple of years, it's not out of the question.
So, because I said this the other day, maybe might have been a week ago or so, in that if you're not going to invest, and regardless of what UNC is doing, if you're not going to invest in Kevin Keats, then you're better off moving on. And this is not, to me, it's not even about, is Kevin Keats a good enough coach? I think he proved he was a good enough coach last year. I think he's a good coach. I really do. I watch a lot of your post-game podcasts with Brian Geisinger. I'm a Brian Geisinger junkie.
Same.
I watch a lot of that stuff, and I talk to Brian a lot. And Brian speaks, pretty favorably about Kevin Keats as a guy who can, game plan and scheme and whatnot. But if you're not going to invest in him, then let him go. Then move him on and try something else. So, do you think they're willing to do that?
I would have thought if there was ever a time that people would invest in Kevin Keats and the program, it would have been this past offseason. And, they didn't exactly go out and hire a GM or anything along those lines, and that didn't seem like the most urgent thing. But, at least investing in NIL, investing in roster construction this past offseason would have been the priority. And the biggest thing is, a lot of people build up a lot of money for him to go somewhere else other than NC State. And instead of taking that money after the run and putting it into an NIL pot or putting it into anything that would help with roster construction, they instead said, I'm going to hold on to my money. And so what you ended up with was, just over $2 million to be able to build a roster when, there's a lot of other teams in the ACC, hell, even one, in Louisville that was able to say, hey, we're going to get between $4 and $5 million with Pat Kelsey to be able to construct a roster. Yep. And it's no wonder why they've been able to turn things around. NC State instead went out and kind of, missed on several guys that they wanted to go get. Ryan Conwell, Ezra Asar, two guys that have gone to other programs and been stars there. They were in great position with and didn't have the NIL money to keep up with.
Yeah, if you're not going to invest, I hate to say you get what you pay for, right? Yep. That is college sports. Real quick, did Wes Moore's team break Notre Dame?
It certainly feels that way, right? It's been a wild ride for Notre Dame over the last few days. You go from I legitimately say this. They talked about it after the game. The fact that the ACC was on hand, had the ACC championship trophy for the regular season ready to hand to Notre Dame after they won the game. And now at this point, it could very well come back to Reynolds if NC State is able to win on Sunday, because now at this point, Notre Dame losing 2 straight, NC State is tied with them, has the tiebreaker. So if NC State wins over SMU on Sunday, they would now have the ACC regular season championship.
That would be absolutely incredible. Real quick before I let Cory Smith, the Pack Prod, go, what are your thoughts on Dave Doran shutting the doors on spring practice and no spring game?
Boy, if I'm talking as a media member, of course I don't like it. I want access. Right. I want to be able to go see the spring game for whatever little bit we can see. A lot of times it's a glorified practice, and you just kind of see guys going through the motions for a half, and then, the second half, it's just whatever they want to do. But, the access is really nice, and it's nice to be able to actually voice what you're seeing as opposed to just what you're hearing. But I do understand the reasons for it. You know, the way that college football is working right now, for better or worse, you want to keep your roster intact as much as humanly possible and not have people pick off, you know, players that you saw at a lot of other programs. NC State had 3 guys enter the transfer portal after the spring game this past year. But, you know, the whole the fact that you're closing off the spring game, yeah, it sucks as a media member, but it all makes sense in the long run and probably is the best for, you know, especially programs like an NC State that can't afford to have, you know, any piece of their depth pulled off, because that's really what you need to build towards is the younger guys if you're not able to really go out and thrive in the transfer portal.
Cory Smith, a master of patience with us. Thank you so much, man. I appreciate your time always, and I will talk to you very soon.
Yes, sir. I appreciate you guys.
You got it. Cory Smith back. Just shut my own mic off. I don't even know what I'm doing today. All right, are we ready to rewind? We should be. All right, we're going to get to a football thing here, and then we're going to close the show out talking a little bit about the Carolina Hurricanes. By the way, they presented Jeff Daniels with a framed Jeff Daniels jersey last night.
They did.
It's very cool. Right after Rod praised Jesperi Kotkaniemi.
I know.
The Jesperi Hive, which is real out there.
Wow.
He's feeling very good about things right now.
With his pacing, too.
Yeah. Oh,
it was funny.
It makes you nervous.
I know. It's like, okay, just sit still for a second.
Gosh, he can't.
Like, no,
it's just all over the place.
I can't.
It's like he's dodging gunfire. All right, Mike Felder joined us earlier. All right, let's just start with the best player in the draft. Who is the best player in this NFL draft, Mike?
Oh, give me Abdul Carter.
Okay.
High cut, and for folks that don't know, when I say high cut, I mean like if you're in, I don't want you to do this if you're in the car because it's dangerous. But if you're at your desk, look where your last rib is, and imagine your leg started right there. High cut. High cut, can move, can run, can do everything. I got into a little bit of a thing because they messed up my lower third, and they messed up the graphic. And I was like, isn't it? I don't think that's what he plays. But I was like, you know what? I'm going with the graphic because he looks like a safety, right? Okay. Or he looks like a linebacker. But he's high cut. He can move. He's got great transition of speed to power. So I think Abdul Carter is the best player in this draft. I mean, you could throw Tyler Hunter in there. I think him, Will Johnson, absolutely. I think Ashton Genty, who I keep seeing being rated as the number 1 player, I don't see it, but I also understand that like he's been incredibly productive.
Right.
So we'll see what happens there. I think the 2 quarterbacks are, you have to put them in the top 10 because of this incredible thirst, but there's a lot of guys I'd rather take ahead of them, including Tyler Warren, the tight end from Penn State.
All right. So Abdul Carter, outside linebacker, edge rusher, defensive player. All right. So I wanted to talk a little bit about the sudden stopping of the Hurricanes are going to trade Mikko Rantanen. So all it took, I guess, was Mikko to score a goal before now people are like, oh, yeah, it's all good.
Right.
I get it. I would simply say this, because I said the other day that if it doesn't appear that it's going to work, then the Hurricanes have other serious issues that they need to address within the roster. And if this is a way to address those issues, you should consider it. It's certainly not ideal, and I would not want to do it. And I think it is a PR nightmare if you do flip Mikko Rantanen for something else. But the whole goal should be to put the best team you can possibly put on the ice. And if you think you can actually set yourself up, whether it's this year or next year, to be better, then I think you owe it to yourself to at least consider it. I don't think they'll do it. I do not believe that they are in any way interested in trading Mikko Rantanen. But now the conversation has basically stopped because they scored a goal. He scored a goal, also assisted on Sebastian Aho's goal. I did hear, I thought, a pretty interesting conversation this morning on the NHL channel on Sirius as I was driving in. And it was still about, this might be the best time to get the most out of Rantanen. You're probably not going to recoup the Natchez Drury second-round pick in return. Probably not. But, if you could get something, like for instance, and I'm not suggesting they do this, but there are 4 more games that the Hurricanes will play before the trade deadline. The next 4 games are tomorrow, Edmonton, Sunday, Calgary, Tuesday in Detroit, and Thursday here against Boston. They'll have to determine by then what they are. Do they need something? And they absolutely need something. The best part about last night's game, or at the same time the worst part about last night's game, is that we really didn't see whether or not Pyotr Kochetkov answered the call for a good game because he didn't have to do anything. If anybody out there is a soccer fan, you know this. Your favorite soccer team can play a great game, and your keeper doesn't matter because he never sees a shot. That's basically what happened last night. Pyotr Kochetkov could have just sat on a chair and eaten a sandwich for 60 minutes.
He might have.
Right.
We just didn't notice.
Right,
because it wasn't there.
Because the puck was never down that end. So they didn't need him to do anything. So let's just say the Hurricanes come to the end of this week knowing that, you know what, our goaltending is just not good enough. Well, they can't just go out and get a goalie because they don't have cap room to do it. But what if they determined that the best use of Mikko Rantanen was to improve their goaltending? Again, I'm not suggesting that they should do it. But what I'm saying is, if you determine that Mikko Rantanen is 50-50, that he might sign, you're not sure that you're going to be amazing now, I think you owe it to consider all options. With that said, and I said this 2 weeks ago, it would be a PR blunder to go through all of this and then move him on. In terms of that, in terms of the public relations, you are better off going for it. And if it doesn't work, it doesn't work. Because then you say, hey, look, we are always in it to win it. I do think right now, and I said this yesterday, they have, and I've said it on the podcast a number of times, I think they have 2 things that they might not be able to overcome. Last night, Brent Burns was very good. Legitimately good, Brent Burns last night. Dmitry Orlov, not as much. But they're very, very rigid in terms of their flexibility on the blue line. And that could be a problem for them because Orlov's game hasn't really come back in the last several weeks. And their goaltending has been mediocre, and that's really putting it mildly. So those 2 things doesn't make a difference really how many goals you score if those 2 things aren't good enough. So keeping Rantanen to make a run at winning a Stanley Cup if your goaltending isn't good enough and your blue line is shaky. Those are 2 issues I think the Hurricanes need to address. Anyway, it's been fun. Victoria, thank you very much. Have a great weekend. See everybody on Monday. Bye.
Questioning goalie interference calls since day one. The Adam Gold Show on the North Carolina Sports Network.
Listen every afternoon for The Drive with Tim Donnelly.
Kevin Keats and state basketball have to do something, and I'll tell you what that is. They have to acknowledge what is happening. This season, it's a failure. That's not to say each individual player isn't working harder. There's no likable people in the program. It's just that after last season, this season, it's not enough. And they have to figure out how to fix it for next season.
The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 3 to 6 on 99.9 The Fan.
Fargo, your virtual assistant from Wells Fargo, makes banking faster and easier. Like this.
Fargo, what did I spend on groceries last month?
And this.
Fargo.